Okay, hello and welcome everyone to New Moon 2020 Cycle 16, also known as Blood Moon number 3. So, before we start, I'm just going to explain briefly about New Moon and specifically Blood Moon, since this Blood Moon is going to be the last one we have for 2020. So make sure to stay tuned in, and we do have a big announcement coming up at the end of the stream, so stay tuned in for that. Okay, so New Moon is our weekly round-robin tournament series, where basically every player plays everyone else throughout the week, which means that we have flexible schedules, and people have public setups, which means after the tournament starts, everyone knows what everyone else is playing. So we will go through. So our commentators will go through these builds and we'll explain what goes through players' minds. So this will be the Blood Moon iteration of New Moon, which is what ends 4-week cycles of New Moon, and then by the end we have Blood Moon champion decided, which is the Moon Master. And yeah, so this is the second stream for our Top Cuts Blood Moon series, so I'm just going to briefly explain how the bracket went last week and what matches we might be expecting to see today. Okay, so looking at the bracket here, we can see that we're already more than halfway through the tournament. So we're going to be starting today's tournament with Salad vs Pablo and then Symes vs Neryth. The winner between them will play each other in the semi-finals, and then the losers will go down. Starting from losers bracket, we already have Enduring Grey fighting his way back, winning against Trio D last stream, and then playerzero coming back from the very bottom of losers bracket. So we will see which of the players will end up near the top. Alright, and now to start us off with our first match with Salad vs Pablo, I'll be introducing our commentators today, who are Neryth and Buster Cannon. Welcome guys.
Hey, what's going on?
It's great to be here. We're having this playerzero.
Alright, thank you for joining, and let's head right into the setups for the first match.
Alright, so we got Salad versus Pablo. So I'm looking at both of their setups here. Of course, you've got Salad running Searchman, which is an excellent mod card, and also running Slimy, which enables Salad to really get area control as she can panel grab as her charge shot. Now, any comments from you, Neryth, or just anything that you notice standing out to you from either of these two setups?
Just that this is Salad's, well, a variation of Salad's air hockey setup going on right here. So the folder and the build mainly works to enable just a single or one or two solid turns of air hockey spam that will usually do somewhere around like 1,000 or more damage, really. So assuming, like, there's even a mag coil to set it up as well. There's just a lot going on here. The uninstall, trying to get rid of super armor so that air hockey can lock without a white capsule being used. The white capsule being in there gives Salad a chance to get the air hockeys off, even if uninstall misses. And really, that's like the focal point of this setup. It's actually really low damage outside of that because Salad chose to forego a damage-oriented charge shot and instead has the panel grab, like you mentioned.
Yeah, and that's air hockey is like you don't see it that often in Battle Network 6. I mean, I know in games like 4 it was super popular and it kind of waned in popularity in 6 due to other strategies going on, but like you said, it's still very painful if you can land it, and a setup like this, you've got the mag pool to set it up, and just finding ways to do that can lead to 1 or 2 turns of really good burst damage. And like you said, she wants to get rid of either super armor or using a white capsule to install it, or to cause it to paralyze. So the only thing that really can counter this is like somebody that's in Tomahawk Cross with super armor, and they can just kind of walk out of it. But otherwise, if everything goes right, this is a lot of damage, and being able to panel grab at will is something that's very powerful. Looking at Pablo's setup, though, he's running Video Man, and one thing I do know about Video Man is that you get the the fast gauge from the outset, and that's something that I know Pablo is fond of, just kind of controlling the pace in that regard, using fast gauge, kind of with those damage judge threats. What do you kind of see with Pablo's setup in terms of what he's looking to do?
So, based on playing him past, what he used to do is run this double fast gauge setup and try to damage judge basically. So he'd get all of his damage in, kind of play with his opponent and try to get his opponent to feel the pressure from the time passing and trying to squeeze in enough damage to take him down, and then see what the match outcome is based off of that. So with this, you can see he has triple fast gauge effectively because of that video man. So I think it's roughly the same strategy. He does have Gregar, the Gregar Giga, and Double Beast. It's a lot more damage than he usually would have. So there's still the risk of getting taken out by just a very, very lucky Gregar.
Yeah, and I've played Pablo as well, and like you said, like that, if you're not prepared for it, that double fast gauge setup can really mess you up, because that can throw off your entire tempo for how you want to play, and now it's triple, so if you're not starting out with a mod card that gives you slow gauge, Pablo already has the tempo advantage in his favor, and that's like, it's really extremely powerful in terms of what that can do. And just him running Gregor, you've already got excellent charge shot. I noticed he's got things set up for his custom, so numbers is great for that. He's got the standard things, chip heal. So just seeing how this plays out will be very interesting, because he wants to control the pace of the match, and Salad has fast gauge in her folder as well, so that's kind of already done, but just seeing how the tempo kind of works on both sides will be interesting to see play out.
Yeah, for sure. This is a set that I would expect to be taking the damage judge here, because yeah, as you mentioned, there's 4 fast gauges in play effectively. And both are pretty high HP setups. Pablo's got 2250 before mod cards kick in. I don't think his mod cards affect his HP. Oh no, Video Man minus 10%, but still a ton of HP.
Minus 10%.
Yeah, still a ton of HP on both sides, and then chip recovery, right? Both players have totem, so 40 HP per chip. That's gonna add up.
Yeah, so this really will be damage judge. I mean, they're very chunky setups on both sides.
Yeah, and unfortunately, air hockey, yeah, it doesn't see that much play, the air hockey setup, but that's because there's a bunch of weaknesses, some of which you can't control. For example, permaholes. If the field has permaholes on the field, then you can just have your air hockeys be basically useless, or nearly useless. You lose a huge chunk of the damage. If your opponent can destroy panels at will, then, for example, Planet Man, then also it's a huge problem.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a meta where Planet Man exists, so that's a very real threat too.
Yeah, so with that in mind, let's see how this match turns out.
Absolutely. So the exact same HP on both sides. Salad is she either wants to go for the turn 1 uninstall, or she's just keeping it there to use it later with that Elect Dragon.
Looks like it's going to be a turn 1 uninstall.
Yeah, and Gregor does not have access to hub badge, so once it's gone, it's gone. I think what Salad's doing is smart. She can't see Pablo right now, and she doesn't know if he has like green invis or something.
Yeah, and as it turns out, he did have invis. So the Elect Dragon would have passed right through him.
Taking advantage of that slimy charge shot, though. Ooh, nice. So the uninstall taking place. Rush is gonna hit. Really good draw with that immediate bug fix, too.
Yeah, this bug fixed and this hub dash.
Ooh, the double beast. That's gonna hurt. It's 420 damage and it's virtually anywhere. Pacing of this match is so interesting because fast gauge starting out, you're just seeing these players like blow through. We're seeing the game blow through so many turns at once that they still have a lot of HP to tear through too.
Yeah, it's definitely much faster paced. And I think the goal of the setup is to make your opponent feel some pressure in terms of concluding the match on their own terms, right?
Nice.
Ooh.
Shields that shard shot and lands the judgment confirm. It's going to give her her area back.
Doesn't manage to squeeze in that Aquaman SP at the end there. Maybe waiting for a time freeze counter.
Yeah, I think she was looking for a defense ship to pop up. Ooh, she's uninstalled with that mock gun.
Oh, unfortunate.
That invis is gonna nullify it. Yeah, thankfully Solid is able to keep pressuring with the area control, but because of the fast gauge effect and just where the players are right now, it's almost as if a lot isn't really getting done in terms of damage, but turns are flying through. Pablo's pressuring full screen with that charge shot.
Turn 7 already.
Ooh, what's the erase, man?
Both players putting up their defense. But Pablo does not know that this is an anti-Navi.
Yeah, Salad needs to do a little bit more area control before she can set up that wind rack, or set that air hockey. Nice, that's
takes
gonna
down
pop the
that.
trap.
Yeah,
Very
they're
good trade. Salad is slowly getting the area that she wants, and because he's already uninstalled, this is actually a very good position to be in. She can set up a air hockey hit and no super armor for her, for him to shrug this off with. Unless he beats out, it's gonna land. And the Magpul is great to set that up too. I know you mentioned this before, but one of the downsides of Falter is that you don't have a lot of passive damage options naturally. So Salad's eggs are kind of in one basket, so to speak. If the air hockey doesn't land, she doesn't have much damage to fall back on.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the benefits of Gregor is that your charge shots and V-charge are so good that even if you're out of chips, you still have something good to fight back with. So Salad really needs to just take care in terms of how she plans out getting these air hockeys out.
Looks like this is going to be the turn.
Ooh, just a little bit of that area back.
Also pops the anti-damage right there. And, oh, it's
Oh.
a turn.
You gotta wait. And one of the things about playing on a fast gauge is that a single invis will take up the entire turn, whereas when you're working in normal gauge or slow gauge, you can kind of wait it out a bit. So Pablo's allowed to burn through his folder. That Gremlin SP is going to hurt too.
Yeah, both ground mans landing here, getting full damage.
Pops are going to... Ah, I see. I think she wants to charge those up for the rocks.
So Pablo still has Gregar and Colonel Force in play with his attack plus 30, so it is going to be quite risky here.
You know, I keep forgetting that Ground Cross adds a plus 10 to breaking chips. Like you never see it, but it is there, and with air hockey, that does matter a lot. That Totem's gonna whiff. Oh, just outside of the range. Every rock missed. I don't think I've seen that before, that interaction.
Yeah, Salad jumped over to Pablo's side of the field.
So I guess the rocks only hit on your side of the field, and if she's on that side, the rocks don't. Wow. That is...
Yes. Salad dodged 100% of the car.
That's like the dream.
Unfortunately, not sure if that's going to be enough here. Salad did use all of the air hockeys.
The one thing that she does have to fall back on is because she has Hub Batch, she does get, you know, attack 5 beast charges. And I think she can kind of fight with that a little bit, but right now she only has 1 from the beast stuff as well. So this is going to be interesting to see how she handles this. Ooh, so it gets the Raceman confirmed, but this is going to push Pablo out of the area. Ooh, the Colonel Force comes out. Oh, man. Yeah, coming out of Beast does not make you lose your status, so... Still gonna eat a few of those hits. It goes in the Hawk to shake off the paralysis. That is still a mountain of HP that she has to take out, and keep in mind Pablo's running Totem, so the Tripper Sharp probably is 40 per chip. Takes out that barrier 200. Ooh, the Double Beast is going to hit full damage. Yeah, as you can see, she's running out of chips, and she has the Hub Bats left, but even still, she doesn't really have the resources to take out that much HP unless she can get something good going with this one of her charge shots. Oh, wow.
No, that was a good chunk of damage right there.
Yeah,
but
she managed to take out that Elect Beast right as the charge shot came out. Ooh, goes into Beast over in Hub Batch. This is the last turn.
So Salad already had attack max from the Navicust, so the Hub Badge wouldn't actually increase damage there, but you see how it ended up playing out. Pablo winning the damage judge by about 700, 800.
And like I said earlier, that's one of like Pablo's trademark strategies. He loves to take advantage of fast gauge and just put the pressure on you to attack him, and as he blows through the turns, next thing you know you're at turn 15 and he's done more damage than you.
You know, it's a strategy that I kind of think feels to me that's actually quite similar to BDT. Because it completely shifts the focus of the game for the other player. You know, normally you're thinking about just taking down your opponent, but with this setup, your focus instead has to shift onto a couple of different things, like chip economy. Also, Cube just went right through Salad.
Yeah, and you're right in that regard. Even having played BDT against this setup myself, like it's very polarizing if you don't know how to deal with it. The double fast gate setup just controls so much of the pace, and you can be so focused on landing what you have to land that Pablo's just taking over in terms of the kind of battle of attrition that's going on.
Personally, I think Salad would be better off shifting her focus and going for beast charges probably with so playing aggressively with area and then going after beast charges, because if she just lands a few of those, I think Pablo would probably lose damage judge at that point.
I think even outside of beast charges, I think taking advantage of certain charge shots would be very economical. I actually do think that Spout Cross would be interesting in this matchup. I mean, he's got Heat Body. Spout Cross's charge shot is very quick, and even in a fast gauge turn, just getting a couple of those off can really add up over time.
Pablo going into Slash Cross here, trying to get off some passive damage.
Yeah, the downside to this setup is that because she can panel grab at low almost, locking her down is very difficult. And under fast gates, Slash Cross isn't as threatening as it would be normally. It's more about the Pablo playing the long game with this, getting that damage in now, so that when damage judge comes up, he's ahead of you by a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Pablo isn't looking to take you down with the Slash Cross. Like, it's not like a normal Gregor setup that wants to get one trade with you with these Slash Cross charge shots. Ooh, ×2 anti-damage. We'll see if Pablo triggers it and destroys his own life aura. Ooh, and he chooses to proc it with his Proto Man. This will give him a chance to hit it.
Yeah, had he gone for a Slash Cross charge shot, that more than likely would have caused the anti-damage to actually hit him during his recovery frames. Very interesting choice that, well, okay, so she's going into Tengu now to blow off the aura. I think the air hockey pressure she may choose to use that to get rid of the Slash Cross. Because the last thing you want to do is have Slash Cross in your face as Tengu. That's a very scary position to be in, but...
doesn't look like it though. I think Salad is really all in on the air hockey strategy.
Yeah, so right now she needs to get that area back.
Choosing not to cross out the Tengu, however. If the turn doesn't play out very well, then Salad could take a ×2 hit. And every bit of damage counts for a lot here for Pablo.
Ooh, the ground man. Wow, steps out of the Electro-Dragon. Okay, Rage Man is gonna pop that trap. Yeah, she chooses to time it out. Oh wow, that's very smart. One thing I do like is that players that choose to time out chips like a Raceman when they know it's going to hit, I think it can be good to give yourself a little bit of a mental breather. Battle Network is one of those games where there's so much going on that you're always taking in different information at once, so any opportunity you can give yourself to breathe a little bit, whether it be timing out a Navi chip or whether it is just taking a little longer on the custom screens to collect the thoughts, I think there's a lot of value in that, and I think Salad's just using that extra time to kind of think about the situation and plan to get that air hockey going. Ooh, Pablo going for that more area pressure. Ooh! Oh! The D-cross, that's huge. Yeah, Salad.
Some really good crosses here to choose from in terms of getting passive damage off.
Interesting that she didn't choose to go with the. She She didn't choose to go with the grab revenge. She might be waiting until she gets the right time to really claim as much area as possible and go for it. But she does have judgment. Nice. TFC's the Invis with Spoutman SP. Yeah, I agree with Bitmuffin. Scrapperborn is top 5 most satisfying D-crosses.
Yeah, for sure. Just because it's so slow, and just like its pattern, how it actually hits you.
To me, the one if I had to put number 1, I'd say D-crossing slash with Justice 1. Like it's rare, but it's like the most satisfying thing you can do in this game. That or Big Hook, which don't see a lot of competitive use, but still pretty cool. It was for the immediate full cuts, just to get a little bit more dig time. That does indirectly help Pablo, just because Pablo gets that extra custom screen as well with charge, but
it's kind of an unfortunate area for Salad right now. Salad is really looking for probably a way to stop Pablo's Gregar from connecting.
ooh, that's gonna. Oh no, it's anti-net. Yeah, it's not gonna stop it. Yeah, this is a pretty rough matchup for Salad, to be honest. Just Pablo's kind of doing what he wants in terms of controlling the tempo on his end, and her setup is so specific as to landing damage with those air hockeys that if she doesn't get those off, it kind of allows Pablo to do what he wants.
No, so here's the Judge Man. Takes down this anti-damage, but Pablo still has both Gigas to follow up on this.
I think air hockey too being such a specific chip in terms of how you can land it. So even little things like creating holes from Scrappy Bone, for example, that causes issues with landing air hockeys. Like you said before, if your opponent is breaking panels on their own accord, it's such a specific win condition. I think at a format like mod cards, it can be even tougher.
Yeah, and it's kind of awkward because Salad wants to break some panels to create a safer area against Colonel Horse as well. So, have to weigh the pros and cons here. Ooh, blocks to Gregar within.
I was just about to say Gregor hasn't come out once this round yet, but there it is. She had her defense ready. He does still have Colonel Force in his deck, so that's a very real threat. Ooh, so she's going for it.
So yeah, it's gonna have to be a white capsuled air hockey play because Pablo is in Beast, and Gregar Beast does give super armor.
Yeah, I think she's debating on whether to do it this turn or the next. She might just beast out this turn and then go ground next. Interesting. Puts up his own trap. Ooh, the Chrono Force. Oh! But it's not going to paralyze because she's in Hawk.
Ooh, it basically only got one hit because of the defense layering right there.
Wow.
And it's already the final turn. Oh, this could be bad.
Pablo can just beast over.
Yeah, so it's probably a situation where Pablo just beasts over and avoids the damage from air hockeys. Yeah, I think this would probably be a damage judge in favor of Pablo here.
Yeah, Pablo in general is allowed to land a lot more passive hits just due to what he has in terms of his crosses. It's wild. Even Pablo could have actually saved his Chrono Force for this last turn if he wanted to. Yeah, it's gonna be GG.
Yeah, well played to both players there. Pablo came out on top with the triple fast gauge setup. Really getting a lot of damage in there, while Salad was kind of waiting for those air hockeys. Was choosing to hold on to them for a long time, not really finding the opportunity to use them in that final match there.
Yeah,
And
it's
so much of the damage from Salad setup comes from the air hockeys that not being able to get them off at the end really hurt the damage judge.
yeah. Either round she wasn't able to get those off. I know Pablo ran something similar when we had the double Navi tournament where he had Video Man and just that double fast gauge setup, and it's so controlling in terms of pace that players are not ready for it or they don't really know how to handle that matchup can really struggle just getting past that setup because it's playing the long game. He doesn't really care about landing that damage in the short term like you said, but over time the damage judge kicking in and you having blown through so many turns, it adds up. So, but like you said, well played to both. And
yeah, I think it could have been taken by Salad either by using some of the null type chips and doing beast charges with them. That would have, I think, brought the damage much closer. By blocking that double beast with invis. And then finally, just by being able to get the air hockeys out. So there were probably 3 different ways here for Salad to at least not lose this damage judge. But unfortunately, with the way triple fast gauge turns out, it just creates a lot less time for your opponent to react to what you're doing and to find good opportunities, right? Because the matches are so much shorter with triple fast gauge.
Yeah, it can really again controlling the pace of the match in that way and really putting the pressure on you to act because he knows that he can stall you out with that. And
yeah, so
you can't really pick and choose. Yeah, you can't pick and choose your spots when your opponent's playing triple fast gauge. You have to kind of take things by the horns and attack when you think you get the chance. So, but yeah, very well played.
Yeah, well played. And yeah, props to Pablo there, making this triple fast gauge setup work and taking down Salad's air hockey setup.
Let's look at the next match. So we've actually got you versus Symes. So one thing I noticed about your setup immediately is that you're running the base cross Mega Man Falter card, where you've got kind of the analog to base cross in Battle Network 5, where you can use the Hell's Rolling Charge Shot, and you've got the float shoes. So what was your thought building this setup in terms of what you want to accomplish? Because this is not a common mod card at all. But
so I was just thinking, okay, let me be honest with you. I am not a huge fan of mod cards in general. I feel like the format, you get a lot of diversity, you get a lot of build options through mod cards, but I feel like it sacrifices your folder building variety and option, because you just have a bunch of options that are like really, really powerful to the point that everyone has to take them, right? Double Beast. You can't not take Double Beast and expect to be competitive, right? It's just too strong for what it does. 420 damage from anywhere in the field, right? Almost anywhere in the field, barring some weird stuff with like obstacles, right? Gregar, right? If you are Gregar and you're not taking the Gregar Giga, then you're kind of sabotaging yourself. It's just so much damage. The effect is so strong. Destroys Life Aura on the first hit. and then the rocks falling on you, 100 damage each, potentially 200 if you boost it with humor. So there's just these options that are really ridiculous. Oh, also uninstall, another one, right? Everyone takes uninstall. You've seen it in every match so far. So what I was thinking as I was building this setup is just, you know, I don't want to go through all of the mod cards and build like look at Symes here on the other side. Got 7 different mod cards, right?
So you want to keep yours keep it simple, like just.
Yeah, I wanted to keep it simple, so I just found a charge shot that I thought was fun, and I just built the whole setup around it. So this is a 6 attack setup with 4 buster ups, so it's going to go up to attack 10, and so it's got the triple buster from the base cross, but it also has Hell's Rolling, which is the focal point, because each hit of Hell's Rolling does 100 damage, and it can do 3 hits. It can do more potentially with weird movement, but normally it'll do about 2 to 3 hits, and so that's roughly equivalent to a BDT. In fact, it's more damage than a BDT. If you can land uninstall, then anytime it clips your opponent, it will do 3 hits. So it will outdamage BDT. And you see Symes running this BDT setup here on the right, actually, hub batch BDT.
Yeah, one thing I noticed about your setup too, you just mentioned, like even though, of course, base cross is not a quote-unquote meta choice for this format at all, I do notice that you are running the attack 10 buster, which in itself is very strong, and I think in mod cards it's probably one of the better options in terms of damage. So having that just to kind of pepper the field whenever you want with very strong shots that are popping anti-damage, like there is a lot to be said for that as well. I do notice you're not running defense either. Like you don't have, I don't see any invis in here. You have a life aura, but no like anti-damage or anything. So was this kind of just an all-out offense type of setup you were going for?
Honestly, this is the type of setup that I do a lot, and I just prefer to have either more utility-oriented chips or more damage-oriented chips, generally speaking. And I usually pay the price for it.
Right, because there's not even chip recovery here, so I'm like, oh man, this is.
Oh no, there is 2 recovery 300s in Y code.
True.
But it might not be worth it compared to say an anti-damage or an invis that blocks a Gregar or another Giga, right? Or a double beast. But instead of taking defense, I end up with like 4 panel grabs, 2 going roads, Timpani, really questionable Timpani, but the panel grabs and the going road. So that's to try to set up a going road on the center. And what it is the Hell's Rolling pattern, the attack pattern for the buster is that your opponent wants to step to the front, generally speaking, and then dodge up and down. Because if it doesn't land on the right panel at the front, and he's standing at the front, then there's no risk of it hitting, and he can't move into it. There's nothing else that could potentially happen. So I want to keep them off of the front panels, so that they still have to keep dodging Hell's Rolling, basically.
Oh wow, so you just want to make him suffer.
Pretty much.
So looking at Symes' setup, he's running kind of a traditional, double Giga BDT setup. I know, personally, I don't like BDT as much in mod cards for kind of aforementioned reasons. There are stronger options, and when you're fighting things like Planet Man, things like that are very strong, like Bubble into BDT, are kind of like, Planet Man kind of shrugs things like that off. Even other setups too, there's like faster ways to deal damage. I mean, BDT is still good, it's just not, it loses a lot of what makes it good in certain matchups. But
it for sure becomes a lot less competitive because of the option of especially easy access to humor, like the potential humor meteor knuckle, right? The damage from that would be insane. So you have to think about the Giga slot and how it's being used.
Yeah, because even, I mean, Falter as a chip is not as strong as, say, Gregor, but Falter can still hurt quite a bit as well. That's still 300 from the, actually called a whirlwind or scream or whatever that thing is supposed to be. But 300 from that, and then you got the feather damage too, and that's still very good. You've got a lot of options in mod cards in terms of passive damage coming from charge shots. So when you look at BDT, you're like, it's still decent, but it's not what you could be doing. But that being said, this is a very standard BDT setup in terms of he's running R code, he's got his bubbles, his heat dragon, his uninstall, he's got his double slow gauge for pace control, he's got actually some very good support with his Navi chips. I actually do really like Tomahawk Man SP. I think Tomahawk Man is I think he's very underrated in terms of the Navis you can pick. I think him and Tengu Man are very strong. Tomahawk Man doesn't cause you to flash at all. It's wood and sword at the same time, so that's two elements that you're threatening at once. It's a very good option. Roll 3 is great as well, just for recovery, and I think that combined with just his passive recovery from the Scarecrow card, recover 300s, your rolls. I think this is a very chunky setup too, and you see him running like 3 HP 400, so he's not playing around with that.
Yeah, for sure. Symes is extremely chunky. And yeah, this is a triple slow gauge setup actually. Jelly does give a slow gauge for mod cards as well. So this is kind of the opposite of Pablo's setup from last match.
Yeah, this is actually the anti-Pablo setup, because I think, like when I play Pablo normally, I think having 2 slow gauges can kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of balance out that fast gauge pressure, and it becomes a game of, okay, I've got my slow gauges, you've got your fast gauges, whoever pops their gauge first loses. And with Symes' build like this, he can always dictate the pace of the match, because he's got the maximum amount of gauges you can put in a folder in one direction. So.
For sure. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. I do believe Symes is an elect body. I could be wrong there. There's a Scarecrow at the end.
Yeah, I'm looking at Scarecrow. I think that's the only one of those that puts a particular body type on it.
And yeah, it's a pretty strong charge shot, the Dull Thunder.
Oh, very.
So he's going to be answering the Hell's Rollings with his Dull Thunders, and
yeah, and because it's a chip charge shot, has a potential to counter hit too, and that's very, very powerful.
Alright, well, I think we can hop into this match and see how the two setups fare against each other.
Absolutely. So you're right, it's a Select Body. Starting out with that 2400. He does have that custom HP bug, which is causing him to bleed a little bit. But between all his passive recovery that's going on in this build, he can easily make up for that.
So you can see this is a center permaholes field. And unfortunately Hell's Rolling does not pass through holes.
He
So
does
it's kind
mess
of like
with your strategy too in terms of putting that going road down, because now the perma holes are in the way.
Yeah, exactly. And you can also see, it's kind of just like with Salad's air hockey setup from our last set, where holes can be a really big influence on the outcome of the match.
You get 3 of your uninstall at the first turn. I did notice that you got 3 of your buster ups already, so I'm right out the gate. You're threatening.
Yeah, I'm at attack 9 here.
It's like getting that perfect angle where it just kind of slides in. Ooh, the roll 3 times. Wow. That's good recovery.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage right there too.
Yeah, I think roll very slept on in terms of Navi chips. I just think that Roll's potential damage is extremely high. It's a multi-hit Navi chip. You can do things like double point. You can, use humor with it. It's very, very strong, and it's can really come in clutch in terms of keeping you alive. Yeah, even looking at just these panels here, like there's only so far you can area grab. Now you do have panel grabs, which is good, and that's something you can use to set up. And then you've got that Tempani in there.
I'm seriously, because of these perma-holes, I'm seriously considering switching into Tomahawk here and just using the charge shot.
That's not a bad idea, to be honest. Yeah, just kind of slow gauge. The good thing about slow gauge is that you can at least wait this invis out.
Yeah, and it was already in slow gauge thanks to Symes Jelly, but I kind of wanted to free up the space in my folder right there. Looking back at
really
it,
getting value out of that shield. Oh, go ahead.
oh yeah, the shield plays a huge role defensively here. Looking back at it, I could have charged that slow gauge if I waited to go into Beast with it.
So you're actually in position to land this Tempati. If you can get in either of those back corners, just drop it there.
That's true, but at the same time, we're in a position where Symes actually doesn't really need to move. He just has to time his shields, I think.
Yeah.
Because he can't dodge the Tomahawk swings from this range. So the Tempani would restrict his movement, but his movement isn't that important here to begin with. Ooh, and it looks like I do land the double beast, but this might be in exchange for this Heat Dragon decrossing me.
Ooh,
And yeah, it does clip me at the end there.
that's unfortunate. Yeah, because you're uninstalled, he's flinching you out of your own charge shots. Right into the hole. Ooh.
You see that triple buster damage actually putting in some work.
Yeah, the thing about your build is that you do have a lot of nice passive damage going on in terms of your own buster, so you can actually clear this HP deficit pretty quickly with the right... Just having him locked down there and being able to use the combination of your charge shot and your pea shooter.
Yeah, and that B-cross in the Tomahawk didn't end up being too bad for me because I have the Hell's Rolling to fall back onto. So the Timpani actually did end up gaining some value there. Ooh, Symes sucks up the Timpani. It's probably about to shoot it out at me here.
So were you trying to bait him to step forward to get the freeze?
Yeah, unfortunately it doesn't really work out. So you can see that the Hell's Rolling actually hits the hole, but it only does one hit on the hole, so that's a third of the damage it could be doing.
Ooh, so the BDT is out.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I'm pretty bad at handling BDT, so it getting to this point is very worrying for me.
Yeah, BDT, I guess for those who don't know how it works, it changes your charge shot into a 200 damage homing electric ball of doom. So it also paralyzes too. But you can have up to 2 of them on screen at once because of your charge time, and you pretty much get forced to dance around them the entire game. As long as they can keep putting them out there, you're always moving. And the pressure that it causes, especially depending on how your connection is and a bunch of other variables, it can be very, very centralizing. Yeah, and with those hold panels right there, he's really like forcing your movement. And one of the good counters though to BDT is uninstalls. If you're able to uninstall him and pressure him with your own charge shots, that can prevent him from ever getting his off.
Oh, so the triple buster I was using earlier, it takes the place of the normal P shot, and what it does is it spreads out and hits the rows above and below where you're standing, as well as the middle. So it travels down all 3 rows if you fire it down the center. And ooh, to uninstall Dragon Lance here.
Ooh.
Getting hit by my own Timpani feels bad.
He saved that Symphony for like a good few turns too. Yeah, even though your chips are running out, again, you still have very strong damage sources natively, but it's gonna be a matter of doing that while evading these BDTs. Sanctuary is really putting in work too. Another downside of these perma holes is base anomaly is kind of tricky now too.
I did have an opportunity to use it there actually, but that opportunity passed. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So if I stood at the front of my area there, it could have actually connected for a little bit, depending on Symes' own positioning.
Yeah, this is a pretty ugly position. BDT is... I mean, you don't need to area grab when you're playing BDT, but if you do area grab, like having that much less room to move, that counts for a lot. I like what you did there. It's smart that you didn't opt to move forward with the panel grab, but just kind of giving Symes less places to move. Ooh, the oh, and there's no defense for that.
Double Beast is going to finish this off. Yeah, unfortunate that the perma holes were in the center there. That really gave Symes a lot of room to kind of duck back and preserve his BDTs at the end. Actually complete the charge. But really, just a lot of damage came through for Symes, like those ×2 procs right off the bat. The Heat Dragon and Roll 3, or I believe it was the Roll 3 coming out with ×2 on the very first turn.
Yeah, and unfortunately, last match, or last round, I should say, there was an uninstall at turn 1, so he was immediately able to control the match. Ooh, that last second life aura.
Yeah, things already not looking so hot for me.
There's not much you can do until you get either a hold of a Wind Rack or a Tingu Cross or something that can get rid of this aura. Pulling up the Tingu Cross to take care of that life aura. Yeah, this is a rough position. Symes is able to pressure with that Scarecrow charge shot from full screen. Yeah, that's a good point from playerzero too. The downside about Tengu is that you are forced to use that charge shot, and when you're a really negative area like that, they can kind of just hang back and not think about it. Said Life Force is going to keep you safe for a little bit.
Yeah, and because of the charge shot change, the best I can do is hitting him with these P shots for a tiny amount of damage.
So does Triple Buster only take place in base or normally? Or, I mean, in crosses too?
You lose it when you cross, so I don't even have access to it here.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. Like, you still have a strong P shooter, but it's not what it could be. Ooh, goes into his own Tinker. Oh, the Bubble Star. Oh, he just steps right out of it. Ooh, on the roll 3. Just what he needed, more HP.
So the way the Triple Buster works is that it does triple damage on the panel directly in front of you. And that's because it fires 3 shots simultaneously, and they spread out 2 panels in front of you.
It's kind of like a shotgun. You just stand right in front of them and, you know, get the most damage that way.
Yeah, pretty much. So it works really well when you can lock down their movement.
Ooh. That's going to take away your holy panels, unfortunately. Ah, invisible. Ooh, the Tomahawk Man SP. That's going to hurt a lot. And D-Cross.
Yeah, Tomahawk Man SP for sure is a really underrated chip. Especially in this format where people are running stuff like Elec Body. It just gives you that chance to get the times 2 damage on weakness.
Yeah, it's, what, 260 if I'm not mistaken?
It's 280, so it becomes
280.
560.
Ah, wow.
Also, yeah, I did have an opportunity there to deny that area grab and answer of my own, and it would have stopped him from being able to step forward and protect that one panel.
Yeah, looking at Symes' HP even now, it's like he hasn't lost much of his original at all. Like, he has 2400 in his build. He's at 2100, or at least over that right now. Just, again, because of how chunky his setup makes him. And without Chip Hill, it's really hard to keep up with just that kind of stamina.
I am not sure if I've taken beat yet, so I think that was a mistake on my part, most likely.
Okay. Was that, so were you going for chip lockout there?
Not necessarily chip lockout. I don't think he had any chips left, so I was just trying to wait for him to see if he had defense end of turn, because I matched that Element Man into the time freeze for his BDT, so so the Element Man didn't get eaten by beat. So he also didn't have any chips at the end there, so that base anomaly just got eaten by beat.
Yeah, I was thinking in general, just when you're fighting a BDT player, there's one thing, you have the lockout tech where they can't TFC like right after they shoot it out. And that's one thing that you can use to get someone that's running BDT. But again, since Beat was so active, you couldn't take advantage of that. So Triple Buster in full effect again. Ooh. Yeah, this is rough.
So chip lockout is a period of time right after you fire a BDT where you cannot time freeze counter or use your chips basically. So if your opponent uses a time freeze counter chip, or rather they use a screen dimming chip, you basically can't respond to it. And yeah, it's true, other chips do have it as well. But I think it's especially noticeable with BDT because BDT is something that is tied to a single chip use, and Symes closes out with this judgment here.
Game. That was a nice D-cross earlier. You managed to take out his trap and his ground cross immediately, but Symes just really had so much HP right there that you weren't able to really tear through it, and losing that base anomaly was extremely unfortunate. A lot of potential damage lost out with that.
Yeah, but I think the base anomaly, it was a big loss, but it definitely wouldn't have made a difference there, because Symes still had... I would have had to use 3 base anomalies in order to have an impact there. Really, just the fact that Symes got the early life aura, and I didn't have either of my wind racks in my hand, so in order to deal with it, I had to go into Tengu, and then in order to get rid of Tengu, I had to go into Beast. So I just really didn't have access to Hell's Rolling for a really long period of time there.
That was, I mean, very well played, just showing how you can make use of that base cross mod card, but again, just the matchups that you have to play against in this game, and Symes having that very chunky PDT build. And it's funny because that's not even really the peak of what you can do in mod cards, but it's just an example of how you can take a build that you see normally and just beef it up with the mod cards and cause a very, very almost not unsurmountable, but very, very tough amount of HP to take out.
I actually think Symes' build isn't necessarily, or rather, it shouldn't be a huge problem for my build. He got the permaholes in the first match, and I think that kind of gave him a lot of defensive options to dodge the Hell's Rolling more efficiently. And the second one, like, props to him. He just played it really well, and the early life aura really limited my options there as well. I think I made the wrong call probably by going to Tengu early and forcing myself into kind of a dead end.
Yeah,
but
at
this
that
is
point, you didn't have a win rack show up. You couldn't just take that out as well. So it's a kind of matchup based thing, and there's a little bit of luck involved in terms of the field you might get, or how they interact with your build. So.
Yeah, for sure. Not to take anything away from Symes, I think he played both matches really well there. But yeah, just I think my setup in particular, it does have problems versus holes, and not pulling the wind racks there really hurt me. And I think this is just something you'll see with setups that are really focused on one thing, and I think you kind of saw it with Salad's setup earlier as well, that the air hockeys, not getting a chance to play them versus Pablo.
Yeah, I think that's even a more extreme example of that, because that's, again, very based on one win condition, and when you can't hit your win condition, everything can kind of fall apart for you.
Yeah, for sure.
There's something to keep in mind when you're building folders and battle networking in general. And again, it's all player experience and matchup knowledge and all that, but knowing that if you have a build that's based on landing one thing, your mindset's a little bit different. Whereas if you have a build that's kind of built to handle different situations, it can churn out damage when it wants to. It plays differently, and you have to know what you're kind of going into when you build a certain way. But well played the bow.
So I think this next match is going to be our semifinals match and it's going to be Symes versus Pablo.
Yep. This is interesting because we were just talking about triple slow gauge. So this is triple slow gauge versus triple fast gauge. So this is really a battle of who pops their gauge first. In a case like this, the person that pops their gauge second is the one that can really take control over the match.
Yeah, and I think the interaction is really interesting because you have to think about who benefits more in fast gauge. Well, obviously Pablo benefits more in fast gauge.
Right.
Who benefits more in normal gauge? Actually, is what I meant to say. Because if both players hold on to their gauges, then it's just going to be basically the 3 gauges canceling each other out, right? So it becomes kind of a game of chicken. Who's going to try to use their gauge first and try to get that value out of it for that one turn? Will be worth it on that one turn? And
yeah, that's. I think with a matchup like this, I think BDT gets a little more of an edge if no one's gauges. But as soon as that fast gauge comes out, BDT gets a huge slap on the wrist because you're only allowed to fire like maybe one. I don't even think you get 2 orbs out on a fast gauge turn. So it's very, very controlling from Pablo's side. He's got access to things like charge cross to, tear through those. Should the bubbles or the spout man not hit, that can be a very, very real problem that a BDT user has to watch out for.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, like you mentioned, I don't think you can even squeeze out 2 BDTs in one fast gauge turn. I think it'd be like less than 1.5 basically charges completed. So
that's if you don't get interrupted.
Yeah, and that's if you don't get if you're uninterrupted, then you can charge 1.5 maybe. But normal gauge, I think is a bit better for BDT. I think you can get about 2 charges off. So we'll see how it turns out. We've seen these 2 setups before already. They're both running chip recovery. Symes from Scarecrow, getting that 30 healing per chip used, and Pablo from Totem, which I believe is 40. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out, because these are basically the opposites. 3 fast gauge versus 3 slow gauge. A setup that wants the game to go to damage judge, basically, versus Symes' setup that really does not want to go to damage judge, wants to just choke you out with the BDTs.
Yeah, there's so many mind games that go on in a matchup like this, because not only do you not want to pop your gauges first, but then there's the mind game of, hey, I can, beast charge my gauge and he'll never know that I didn't use it. So there's a lot of kind of under the hood tricks that go on in a matchup like this, and it's really just a matter of seeing, okay, is my opponent going to pull the trigger or not? And if he's not going to, I can take advantage of that in my own way. So.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't even want to mention the potential of charging gauges while in Beast, because that's kind of, I think you want to do that with a specific Beast timing, basically, towards the end of the match, so that even if your opponent realizes, wait a second, did they just charge their gauges? They don't have as much time, they don't have as many turns to make use of the gauge difference, right?
Right.
So I think if you hold your Beast until a specific turn, then for sure it's a big option there. But yeah, we'll see how the mind game plays out with these gauges.
Absolutely. Let's get right into it. Alright, yes, this is Symes' point of view. Yeah, right off the bat, those bubbles are actually a lot more threatening just from the heat body alone.
True, but you do have to consider that Pablo might go into a cross here, because Gregor's crosses are really good for just getting that passive damage out, so it's no guarantee that it will still be Fire Body.
Yeah. Although 2 of those crosses could be Fire Body, so...
Yeah, that is true as well. You can see Pablo taking his time here to think out his first turn.
That's one thing I do like about custom HP bug, at least on their side. I can kind of see when they're still thinking, and just watching their HP count down, it's like, okay, you can wait as long as you want, but... So he opts to go into a race. What's interesting is that you normally see BDT players in at least regular format, they'll go into Dust Cross to kind of dig through their folder for it. And I noticed that Symes is just kind of chilling out in base form. He's got his Scarecrow charge shot. So he's just looking to kind of scope things out. But he is taking a lot of damage from this Erase Cross charge as well. The barrier 200's up.
Ooh, not managing to squeeze in that Double Beast at the end there.
I think it's interesting that he didn't opt to go for it. That would tear off the barrier 200 along with getting a little bit of extra damage as well.
So that, ooh, still not being able to use it here, actually. Ooh, Pablo gaining a good chunk of damage with his Grandman SP. Only 30 less than a Double Beast, actually. Ooh, but a Double Beast connects.
Yeah, it's gonna heat it up a little bit.
Exactly.
I still feel like Pablo's slightly controlling the pace of this a little bit better than Symes is, though.
Oh, for sure. I do think going a turn without selecting new chips, actually 2 turns, I think. One holding onto Invis, second holding onto Double Beast. That might bite Symes a bit in the future.
Ooh, when he gets the uninstall on him, that's huge. Versus someone that's playing BDT, if you uninstall them, you're able to interrupt their charge shot with pretty much anything that flinches. So that's a huge, huge hole. And yeah, you see Symes going for the... You see him going for the ground cross now, because he wants to keep a super armor. That's still very scary.
This is kind of risky, because Pablo can react to it by going into Erase Beast and decrossing him. It's true that Pablo no longer has cursor chips other than, I believe, the Erase Man, but he still does have the Erase Beast option available to him.
Yeah, because at a time like this, he would actually get more value out of... Even if Pablo were to Beast Charge one of his fast gauges for a tail arrow, that would be huge value.
Ooh, but this is a tough spot for Pablo here because of the BDTs already on the field. Symes putting down 2 BDTs on the field is going to be a lot of pressure. Not managing to use that defense though.
Yeah, and Symes has access to his bubbles as well, so Symes throws out a bubble and manages to bubble Pablo, and if BDT hits him, that's double damage from the BDT. This actually might be it. Yep. And he gets both. Oh no, he gets only one.
So that was a double damage BDT though, 400 damage. And again, Symes not locking, or not using his end of turn chip there. I believe it would have triggered Rush. I don't think he's gotten rid of Rush yet. His first
Rush
injury
hasn't come
got in the time freeze counter, so...
And he's opting to, go for the hub batch play here. Ooh, fast gauge. Pablo might be going for a beast play.
Symes is in a critical range here for Pablo's Gregar. Keep that in mind. Ooh, but second...
Ooh, the decross.
Second recovery putting him into a bit of safety.
Yeah, Hub Batch does not give you super armor back, so still going to be flinching from all these hits.
I mean, even these books will cause Symes to flinch here and lose his charge. Oh, nice! Dodging the Gregar with this Invis.
That's going to save him. That could have been a setup for game.
Ooh, unfortunately stepping into the charge shot at the end, taking an extra bit of damage.
Yeah, every little interruption to the charge shot is important. I think Pablo might want to decross, or not, might want to beast out here, just because the lag on Erase Cross's charge shot is so long that BDT's going to hit him.
Yeah, for sure, and just keep in mind, Pablo still has Kernel Force as well, so going into Beast would give him the boost for Kernel Force. At the same time, I think it's either that or cross-canceling to regain his ability to move, and he goes for the cross-cancel. Maybe he doesn't have his Kernel Force in hand yet.
I think this is smart as well, because Electcross is very good for full-screen zoning, and he just wants to be able to control the map from that place on the screen right now. He's not even able to use that Tomahawk SP on Pablo right now.
Yeah, he had to pop the anti-damage first, and a second anti-damage comes into play right after popping it. Unfortunately, Symes was forced to throw away some of his defense earlier, so he doesn't have the same options available to him right now in terms of blocking damage.
Here comes the Beast.
Oh, it's gonna be...
Wow, that's gonna put him at 1. Even though that's a huge decross, I don't like that slow gauge use.
I feel like that could have been used a little bit later, because he had a bit of time left before he stops blinking.
Ooh, the volcano panels.
I think they really came down to Symes
a-
taking too many charge shots. Just walking into erase charge shots there.
Yeah, Pablo got a lot of charge shot damage off early in the game, and he was able to kind of keep that pace going the entire round.
And also, yeah, these back row volcano panels are very interesting.
I kind of have a love-hate relationship with these, because they're kind of fun, but when you're on the receiving end of them, you can end up taking more damage than you wanted to just because you stepped in the wrong spot, so...
I would say I just have a love relationship with them. I think they're they're fun. They're really fun, and I think the potential of like pushing someone into them or forcing someone to step into them is always really funny to me.
I kind of wish there was a way you could set these up on your own end, but you can't, so they're just kind of there. Opts for charge.
Yeah, I think as we've mentioned before, Pablo's build really it is reliant on making your opponent feel pressure and not giving them the opportunity to get great chip economy, right? Not letting them get the best value out of their chips possible, because if your opponent does get maximum value on a lot of their chips, then I think even with Pablo's HP, you would still end up dying. And you can really see it here with Symes tossing away some of his chips from time to time.
Ooh, wow, that's huge.
Yeah, those ×2s and the charged bubble. Yeah, that was a ridiculous amount of damage. It also cleared the volcano panels, though. Can't say I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, if he bubbles here, he does lose that, and that's a little bit of pressure that he could have used in his favor, especially with the area advantage he has right now.
You know, it could actually become something of consequence, because if Pablo tries to hide on his anti-damage on the back, you know, if you had volcano panels, would have taken care of that for you. But it looks like, yeah, Pablo feeling some pressure here. Symes is almost full HP from his Scarecrow recovery. Pablo coming out with an area grab and slash cross. Let's see if he has a second one.
He might not need a second one, because if he steps back, he can just hit from those volcano panels. Ooh, that's gonna hit for a nice amount of damage.
Ooh, and it looks like Symes actually did manage to use the anti-damage at the end there, so it's probably gonna come in right at the beginning of this turn. Ooh, unless
to go to Tengu.
I'm not sure that it will get used if he cross cancels it. Yeah, I'm not sure what the interaction there will be. I actually feel like he could have stayed in normal body. Oh
Yeah.
jeez. And this is Slash Beast now, and potential for... Oh wow.
Okay, he's got an
Might be
invis.
bad.
But ooh. Oh no, this could be ugly.
This is to confirm this is going to be extremely painful.
Oh, wow. Just missed it.
Wow.
That could have been 800 damage right there.
Yeah, that could have been a huge swing. Props to Symes for managing to mash out and step up. Hot patch coming through for Symes.
This allows him to keep his area. He's just gonna lose that charge, but defensive options are really keeping Pablo alive.
Ooh, Symes uninstall here. Can attach it to that dragon in his hand. There's a heat dragon here.
Yeah, and one thing about this kind of matchup is that I know Symes is looking at that slow gauge like, man, I'd love to use that right now, but he knows that the second he uses it, Pablo gets control of the match.
I kind of feel almost like Symes should have gone to Dust here.
That would threaten Slash quite a bit.
Well, because this will also be an uninstall turn, so you can start to whittle down his movement options.
Ooh, and grab revenge. It's gonna push him right onto the... Okay, it's not erupting, which is good.
Ooh, and Symes does lose area.
This is actually pretty bad. He still has his volcano panels there.
So his BDT comes through here. Is that going to be the play? Also really tempting to just go for this Spoutman SP. You can maybe just close the match out with it right here, because it will be a huge chunk of damage. 720 if it connects. That would be, I would say that's the riskier option though, so Symes is going for the BDT instead. What you have to keep in mind is that with Totem in play, chip recovery, knocking your opponent down to 100 HP does not guarantee that you'll close it out in that turn.
Alright, Symes gonna start his own pressure.
And yeah, I believe Pablo's...
spot for, oh, go ahead.
I believe both of Pablo's Gigas are still up, so Symes has to watch out for that.
He could actually close this out if he are going to go with the bubble. I think he just wants to go for the Spoutman SP instead. And you can't TFC it from that position. Looks like he's throwing away his other chips. He could have seen if the BDT hits and using that to decross, or using that to pop the life ore, but I think he wants to just throw that away and go right for the wind rack. Ooh, heat cross.
Oh!
Wow. Oh, he's dead. Yeah. Wait, no.
Oh, no.
He's
Gonna
alive.
have a sliver of HP here. 38.
He's bleeding from the HP bug though.
Oh wow, this
That
might
is a
be...
high level HP bug. He might be dead. Oh, whoa. He's still here.
With 1 HP though, and Pablo has recovery from Totem, but he does not have recovery 300s, so it's going to be really hard for him to stay alive here.
Even on Sanctuary, this is not... Wow, he went for the fast gauge. He's still alive!
But this Kernel Force isn't gonna paralyze. Gets rid of the Sanctuary.
Wow.
Finishes off with a P-shot.
Yeah, I think he made Pablo crack.
Oh jeez, that's tough.
Unfortunate. Both steel gauges.
I am surprised Symes didn't just go into Dustcross and start shuffling that those slow gauges back. That means it's going to be occupying space in his hand for quite some time.
Yeah, unless he chooses to do something with those, like Beast Charger or something, that's gonna be a problem, because that's... I'm surprised that he hasn't been using Dust Crosses that much in this matchup in general.
Yeah, Pablo does only have 2 cursor chips.
I know normally what you want to do with a BDT setup is you kind of hide behind the fence and use that to effectively dig through your folder as quickly as possible to get what you want in terms of your Beast chip, or your, Giga chip. Symes is kind of playing this a little more passively. Ooh, Double Beast is going to hit.
Oh, but this is going to be a block. The area grab coming down in combination with these,
Oh, you see he doesn't have float shoes on. He has to either Beast or change the panels.
That was a good shield at the end there, blocking that last charge shot, but it is a precarious position for Symes here.
Yeah, he's forced to Beast out. Oh wait, no, he can change the panels over the grass too. Yeah, that's not a fun position to be in when you're stuck against those road panels and you can't move. Your opponent can kind of do whatever they want at that point.
Yeah, I could see even Slash Cross being an option here if you believe your opponent doesn't have an answer, just because they're being pulled to the front like this. Okay, so Symes does use the Element Man Grass to get out of this. Has to be careful not to get hit on that panel right above him here, because it will trap him in the same situation.
Yeah, that is the interesting thing about the Video Man effect. Your regular pea shooter has the chance to spawn conveyor panels, and when your opponent is not running any kind of float juice whatsoever, that can get pretty ugly.
Yeah, Symes is gonna have to wait until his hub bash comes out before this no longer is an issue.
Pablo has the charge shot glitch where your charge shots 100% give you the effect, right?
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
So the with mod card charge shot effects, I know that if you have the default charge shot effect with one of your cards, that causes your proc rate to be 100% if you fire the charge shot. So in this case, it's the conveyor panels.
Oh, okay, I think I see what you're saying. I'm not 100% on that though. That's what it seems like though.
Yeah, 'cause so far I've seen all of his charge shots just proc conveyor panels with each hit, so I think he's taking advantage of that effect that comes with it.
Whoa, is Symes actually gonna toss his previous hand? I think he had 3 chips in his previous hand. Choosing to toss them is a very strange play here.
Oh, he almost got stuck again. He's got to watch out for that. Ooh.
A little bit early on the rush here. It will let Pablo get this charge shot in.
Oh,
Ooh, Pablo gonna step up.
He's a little too early. Oh, good to see Mega Master X in the chat too.
I do feel like it was too early for Symes to be throwing away 3 chips like that. I think it was 3, might have been 2.
Yeah, what I'm seeing right now, Pablo does have the advantage, I think, in terms of just controlling the pace. So Symes is a life lead, but... Ooh. Oh, that's gonna be critical. Ramen SP is no slouch in terms of damage.
Ooh, but this is an area lock.
Ooh, that's a free D-cross.
Unfortunately, Symes does not have very much attack at this point. Hasn't popped Hub Batch yet. So these tanking racks aren't doing too much.
Yeah, his attack isn't maxed out. He also isn't under slow gauge, so it's not as threatening as it could be. Ooh, this could be an area play. Pablo switching over to, yep, goes to the grab revenge.
Ooh, but Symes protecting this last bit of area here. Has to be careful. Okay, that panel just went away.
Ooh, the uninstall. Okay. Ooh, Pablo has the area he wants. I think the ironic thing about the situation is that even though Pablo prefers to use fast gauge, slow gauge is, in the situation is very scary too.
Huh. That is a strange choice. Okay, so bit of damage trade here. Symes gets back his area in exchange for that groundman connecting.
Ooh,
oh,
Gregor.
no.
1, 2, no, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 hit. That's huge. I think he's trapped them. Oh no, he's got it. He's got the shoes on. Still.
That was a huge chunk of damage from Gregor right there. If Pablo has his Kernel Force to follow up, then this could be the end for Symes. Actually, I'm not sure if we've seen Double Beast yet, either.
On Pablo's side, I don't believe so. He goes for the slow gauge. Yeah, obviously use roll to pop the trap. It's gonna heal him a little bit.
Okay, so that's Sanctuary, Z-Code.
Oh. The bubble didn't hit before the BDCs, he doesn't get the boost.
Oh man. I feel like
oh, go ahead.
Symes could have squeezed in that wind rack there right after the first BDT release.
Oh, you mean after he stepped forward?
Just for that chip recovery.
Wow, he's gonna chip charge sub patch. That would have been a smart move, but at that point, yeah, it was already Pablo already had that in the bag.
Alright, well played to both players there. Yeah, you could see that the double damage Gigas, Gregor and Kernel Force there, closed it out for Pablo.
It's interesting, just even circling back to how this all started. Nobody popped their gauges until very late. Like, I didn't see Pablo pop fast gauge until he lost that second round. And last round, Symes finally popped one of his gauges toward the end, but it really just showed how much both players were aware of the other's options, and they were kind of playing around that. But Pablo was able to keep momentum on his side a little bit better than Symes was.
Yeah, definitely the triple gauges on both sides kind of nullifying each other. Most of the matches were played, most of those rounds, they were in normal gauge because neither player wanted to be the first to give in and use a gauge.
Right.
But you can kind of see, I think Pablo's triple fast gauge strategy, the pressure it put on Symes, even though it was normal gauge as a result of the gauges canceling each other out. You did see Symes toss away quite a few chips there that maybe would have made a difference. I think it was a bit of defense, maybe an anti-damage and area grab. But in the end, Pablo manages to clinch out the win here in 2-1.
Again, well played to both.
Yeah.
Coming up next, we have Salad versus Enduring Ray.
So before we head into the next match, I'll just jump in quickly to give a quick update on where we are in the bracket right now. So as you can see here, the last match we just saw was Pablo vs Symes, which was winners semifinals. So now Pablo is heading off into the finals match, and he's going to be waiting for his opponent to be coming down from loser's side. So on loser's side, we can see from last week, Enduring Ray and playerzero were already there, and now we have Salad and Neryth, and then Symes waiting up ahead. So this match will be, as Buster Cannon mentioned, Salad vs Enduring Ray. Then we'll see how the bracket progresses from there.
I like how playerzero didn't mention himself there. Made it sound like there are only 3 participants down here, but he is the 4th. It's me, Salad, Ray, and playerzero down the losers bracket. And this next match will be Salad versus Enduring Ray.
Well, so one thing I noticed about Enduring Ray set up immediately is that he has Snake Arm. Now, I know he's not using that charge shot. I think Tingle Man is what's taking precedence, but Snake Arm is not something you see a lot, and I do think it as a chip is kind of underused just because of how, it's not really commonly seen. But...
Oh yeah, for sure. You don't see it much. I think it's an interesting mod card for sure. Not just for the charge shot, but even just the stats are kind of wonky on it. It influences all of your buster stats, but it influences speed and charge negatively and gives you attack +3. The charge is very fast on it though, so...
Yeah, that's interesting because Enduring Ray's playing Gregor, and with Gregor you want, charge max. And he's running charge max, but Snake Arm has that charge -1. You're thinking, okay, this is gonna slow down your damage per second a little bit. So
yeah, but you can see the synergy there in his mod cards because he's got Needler just up ahead, and that kind of resets everything with the speed +1, charge +1, attack +1. So it kind of nullifies the speed and charge minus from Snake Arm, and then instead he gets attack +4 and speed +4 from Satella. So his buster stats are maxed out here.
Yeah, he's also got a twinge for chip recovery. I don't see twinge used as much for chip recovery as I do, Totem, Scarecrow, kind of the usual crowd, but still very good. It gives you attack +1. It gives you, it's a little bit extra HP, so very strong there. Tingleman to me is, I think, one of the best in terms of mod cards that are really effective in the meta. Tingleman is extremely strong in my opinion. I think that having access to a Winderact that can counter hit whenever you want is very strong. If you're able to roll lock somebody, that's very, very good damage per second that you can just take advantage of it quickly, knock that out. Again, you always have a way to knock out auras without having to have your own Winderact. So having that in itself is good, but then Tingleman also gives you shoes too, so it's like, okay, that's even better.
Yeah, not to mention the beat, but
it's 3 feet, so it's a very strong mod card.
But yeah, Ray mentions here that his rationale for twins was keeping normal body, and yeah, I was just about to mention that. If you notice, none of his chips, or none of his mod cards give him an elemental body, so he does have normal body, and that can be a pretty big advantage. So normally in mod cards, it's very easy to get stuck with a elemental body, and that will make you take 2 times damage from the opposing element. And so it's actually favorable to keep normal body if you can.
Yeah, it's not like a cross where you get double damage and you decross and doesn't happen again. Like normal body is kind of reminiscent of the style changes and souls from past games, where if you were, say, for example, like Heat Gut style, and some guy hit you with Bubble Man, or not Bubble Man, but they hit you with just water ships over and over, you'd be taking double damage the entire match. Whereas crosses, you're kind of spared from a little bit of that consequence. Like you get hit once, you lose your cross, but you're not going to get pelted by, bubblers or whatever. So seeing Enduring Ray take action so that he's not in a body state is good for kind of his overall longevity, because he's not getting hit by things like, for last match, for example, Pablo had Fire Body, and you saw Symes do a lot of damage with a double Bubble Star, and something like that, or Spout Cross being able to threaten you like that. You don't really get to do that to somebody that has normal body. So very smart move in my opinion, just keeping that normal and keeping him from taking extra damage where he doesn't need to.
Outside of that, I'm not sure that there's too much to say about Enduring Ray's setup. He's got 1 Giga, it's Gregar, and he's got the uninstall setup with his Flash Bomb and Statics. Pretty standard setup. He does have a single Coming Road, and it is a double slow gauge.
Yeah, I really do like, I like that this is just a kind of, like you said, a simple Gregor building. Gregor gets its damage from its crosses mainly, so being able to take advantage of that, double slow gauge is excellent. I think static and uninstall is an extremely powerful combo, just in terms of being able to hit and know the entire field, and in a regular area situation, being able to do that, you can tear through barriers and auras that way and still uninstall. So it's very strong. I do notice the 3 barrier 100s, and that's very interesting. I think that can kind of give you a little bit of extra oomph in terms of your defense, because being able to clear those out is not as easy as just kind of using your own pea shooter. So your opponent having to go through 3 of those along with your other defensive options, that can be very useful.
And I'm personally not a fan of the barrier 100s. I can see them being good in certain situations, but I think there's just a lot of damage that will come through and destroy them quite easily, and a lot of multi-hits especially that will still get some value. Like Double Beast in particular, the barrier 100 is not going to block the entirety of Double Beast, and everyone is running Double Beast, so it is kind of it's going to be kind of difficult to get full value out of the barrier 100s. Or at the very least, manage to block a lot of damage with them.
Yeah, I feel like in this matchup it's a little more useful than normal. Solid's main source of damage is the air hockeys, and outside of that, there isn't really much. I mean, Double Beast, of course, is Double Beast, and we all gotta think about that. But outside of that, she doesn't really have a lot that's kind of threatening a defensive situation like that. She's got access to, her charge shots and beast charges, but in terms of chips, there's not a lot that's really going to tear through a lot of defense, so that'll be interesting to see how this kind of plays out, just with Enduring Ray having his build where it is. And he's also got the Recover 300s too, to keep him being healthier.
Yeah, for sure. It is going to be an interesting matchup to see, and I think without any further ado, we can hop right into it.
Okay, you got the double VOD set up. So Salad on the left and Enduring Ray on the right. If Salad does get turn 1 bug fix, which is very good.
Ooh, turn 1 bug fix and uninstall without even chip shuffling.
Yeah, that's very good. Early anti-navi, in my opinion, is pretty good too. I think it can help a lot in terms of people kind of throwing out things early on and. But she can't see Ray, and she doesn't know what his status is right now. Ooh, the anti-navi kicking in.
Ooh, and that was a very good anti-navi time freeze counter right there. Because Salad might have taken that ×2 damage due to Heat Body.
Ooh, and the uninstall right there. I think Ray could have waited for that full cust a little bit, but.
And then Hub Batch right now.
Yeah, Shuffle is. I mean, Shuffle can get you certain. There's a lot earlier than Dust can. It's all luck, but it's really good when you can get things working for you like that.
So Salad opting to hold on to the Hub Batch probably until after uninstall hits, so that Salad can get shoes back. Ray over here thinking about his options.
Yeah, and to note, Ray is running double slow gauges while Salad only has 1 fast gauge, so he has a little bit more control in terms of pacing and in terms of what he can do.
Oh wow. Oh. Okay, very interesting area shape right here.
Salad just eating away. Ooh, protects against the flash bomb. She's got the entire. She may as well just start going for the rest of it. I mean. Muffin says it's a highway. Look at all those conveyor panels. Yeah, I see that Ray wants to get rid of that aura. He's an Electro, so he can't use his Wind Rack.
It's a nice holy panel from Ray here. It'll help mitigate some of this damage.
Salad's just like holding her ground.
I think just waiting for those conveyor panels to disappear, and it looks like they're just about to.
He's just like chilling. Let's see if she's going to start eating up the other panels at this point, because she can.
It looks like Salad has just decided that this is her new home. And wow, that static could not connect because Salad just refused to move.
Remember that chip in Battle Network 2 Stone Body? He's like doing that. Just standing there.
So, you have to keep in mind, the Life Aura will eventually dissipate out of its time. It does not last the whole match. Okay, Salad finally refreshing that area there.
Ooh,
Ooh!
optimal positioning.
So you see some of Enduring Ray's stronger damage options in his hand now. He's choosing to go with the Double Beast here. But he also does have Gregar, so a lot of damage can be coming out in these next few turns if Salad doesn't manage to block it.
Yeah, there's a lot of between Gregor coming out. If he wants to reclaim his area, you can do that too. Ooh, and again, the Judgment's there. It's just not moving. So you're gonna have to physically push her back.
Beat coming down, taking away Judgman here. Ooh. So Full Cust coming out, ending this turn prematurely.
So for Jonathan, Magcoil, it drags your opponent into the road that you're using it in, and at that point you can kind of use it as a setup to land certain chips that you would want them in front of you for. So in this case, it's air hockey. And I've seen it used with chips like Delta Ray as well, just in order to get the max damage out of it. You don't see Magcoil too much competitively, but it does have its uses. Oh, this is actually perfect positioning for these. Oh, yeah. You can't go anywhere. Finally pushes her back.
And Salad opting to pop this hub patch here.
And look at the HP difference.
Yeah, the Double Beast does even it up a little bit, but it's still almost 3 times more HP on Salad's side here.
Yeah, those Tomahawk Beast charges hurt a lot too. That is 300 maxed out, so her being able to land that perfectly.
Yeah, Tomahawk Beast Charge is actually really interesting, because it also has the potential to destroy Life Aura by itself if you land it on an exact panel.
Oh no, that holy panel's gone. Right, smart, choose to wait it out.
Ooh. Ray is stuck here now. Actually has those back panels to retreat to, but...
Oh, whiffs the erase, man.
Unfortunately, that hole stayed on the field just long enough to eat up that air hockey.
Ooh, so I see Enduring Ray, he's got access to his static uninstall right now. And because Salad's negative area, this is pretty much undodgeable. So if he chooses to go for that, and so he's going with the Barrier 100 right now.
I don't think Salad locked very much here. Maybe 1 chip? Ooh, but it is the fast gauge.
Okay, this is a momentum shifter here. But he's got his own slow gauge, so
Yeah,
double slow gauge versus 1 fast gauge, it's not much he can do about that.
Going
See if
into
he
cross
decides
here.
to-
Wanting to get some damage out through the charge shots probably to finish this up.
I don't agree with beasting out and then taking static. It's gonna be a lot harder to hit.
Yeah, you lose control over the static.
Oh, but he
Ooh,
does
it does
wait for the
connect.
Scrap of Born, so that's gonna be a confirm.
Into a ×2 Erase Man right here. Gets a D-Cross.
Has Enduring Ray used a Race Cross yet? Because this is actually a great setup if he wants to go into a tail arrow offense kind of thing going on.
I'm not sure. I don't think he has.
Yeah, he has. Oh, this could be pretty ugly right now. Yeah, he's got Life Aura and he's got access to these beast charges. It's at least 2 arrows. Okay, that's smart. Ooh, it's gonna.
It's coming down to the
Very
wire
close.
here.
He just waits for the. Do it! Oh, I say Prix plus A.
Oh wow.
Oh, she's got access to Beast Over, and he doesn't. Yeah, that recovery 300 is. Oh man, but she's got double Beast.
Oh, but I think he'll have access to Beast Over right after this.
Yeah, so if he survives this turn.
So Salad opted not to go for the double Beast.
Yeah, if Salad took that ship with her, that would have been game.
Yeah, I think it would have easily killed him.
And he has Sanctuary, so he can take this with him, and he's good. Okay, he wants to opt to go for. He can take the Gregor. That's weird.
Ooh, wait.
Huh? Wait, didn't she just?
Alright, looks like Salad has a second wind, I guess.
Huh? Did she eat a Senzu bean? Like, what's going on here? I have never seen this before.
Alright.
Yeah.
It looks like the players themselves are a little bit confused here. But there was no desync, because if you check the game state between the two of them, you can see that they both have, it's identical.
Yeah.
So this is just
It's
something
not a
wonky
desync, it's
happening.
just a, yeah. Huh. Oh, she just...
Alright.
Okay. She just blew up? I'm surprised that they're playing this out in this state.
Alright, well, looks like Salad lost despite attempting to hack the game. Probably should have turned on the cheats a little bit earlier.
Yeah, sometimes online play just weird things happen. Like I've seen things happen. Like I've seen beat proc twice in a match, but I've never seen 2 beast overs. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure there's really, really zany and just wacky things that are possible, but haven't seen that one before. I'm guessing they're choosing to just play it out because it didn't affect the outcome of the match at least.
Yeah.
And yeah, Enduring Ray confirms it here. It would be really painful if Enduring Ray managed to push this cube into Salad.
Ooh, a static uninstall.
Ooh, that was very nice from Enduring Ray.
Yeah, it's so good that Salad doesn't have HP bug, because she'd be that would be pretty ugly right now.
Salad does have the Hub Batch in hand already. Also, yeah, Salad's movement here on this field is very limited.
Yeah, the ice panels are not doing her any favors. The ice cube is like blocking her column right there.
She does have panel grab. Ooh.
Ooh, that's not
Game
where you
lock.
want to be.
Oh no.
She can step forward, but you might want to block her.
Oh no.
No, you can't. You're stuck on the cube. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So you ever played those Pokemon games with the ice cave puzzles?
Yeah, of course.
That's where he just got stuck in. He was trying to figure out the right path, and it was too late.
Oh no.
Oh no. That's yeah.
What?
Yeah, I'm like, someone please use an Element Man and put a stop to this.
Let's keep going. This should be the entire rest of this match. Ooh.
You know, there's a debate among Gregor players over which is better, air shoes or float shoes. This is like a very compelling argument for float shoes.
That is true. I think Salad just got pushed back one panel due to the Tengu Rack charge shot. Okay, Hub Batch coming into play here, so...
Ooh, the shield!
Oh wow! And it destroyed the ice cube in the back.
It's just shooting at you. This is like such a just locked up in there.
Wait, look at Salad's chips and what they spell out. That's how I feel about this. That's how I feel about this match.
Oh no! That's dope. All the times I lose Judgment. Ooh, the uninstall.
Yeah, I'm not sure if... Oh no!
You saw how fast she tore off that pointer. It's like a couple pea shooter shots and it was gone. That ice cube is so problematic right now.
Ooh, the grab revenge here, potentially. Yes, Salad chose to shuffle everything else away. Just keep this grab revenge. It's the only thing that matters right now. and it's looking like a double beast turn for Enduring Ray on the other side.
These elect dragons are going to be pretty ugly. Enduring Ray is uninstalled right now, so one, that'll get rid of the holy panel, and two, that cuts off his movement with huge. Ah,
Okay.
nice. Finally gets rid of
Finally.
that. Ooh. It's gonna hit.
Nice double beast coming out.
He has nowhere to move.
Huh. Salad not opting to do any charge shots, probably expecting a Navi chip coming out. Last man.
Ooh, the triple shot. Oh.
Ooh,
Okay.
end of turn erase man connecting.
Yeah, she opts to time it out. And again, using this as a way to kind of collect herself a little bit.
Oh. Salad trying to get more air hockeys. Yeah, this is gonna be it. This is the setup.
Yeah, I noticed Ray going for the cross outlet. Ooh.
Oh no, it does not connect.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
That's huge.
That probably would have been a kill if it landed.
Yeah. Look how much HP he's gotten back.
Yeah, those two recovery 300s coming out.
Yeah, that's... Ooh, a lot of her damage is down the drain already, and he's got a Gregor chip on hand. Yeah, her only defensive option, unless she takes the life aura with her, is that anti-damage.
To me, this definitely feels like life or a turn.
Yeah.
But
Although with Gregor, it doesn't matter anyway, so...
it looks like a Salad is just gonna go for one last air hockey. The final hawk.
Yeah, it's gonna
Oh!
protect. Ooh.
Oh wow, didn't even
Ray
get to
takes
use
it.
those chips for the chip recovery.
Yeah, so well played to both. Very interesting. Well, very interesting last couple rounds with that. Between the two uses of, Beast Over and that panel exchange, the last one. But
Those area shapes, I'm looked like a fun match. It looks very fun at least. You don't see those area shapes too often.
no,
But yeah, well played to both players there, and congratulations to Enduring Ray for winning this set and progressing in losers bracket.
absolutely. Let's see, so moving ahead, we've actually got two of our commentators fighting each other. So playerzero versus Neryth.
Yeah, and the winner of this matchup will be moving ahead as well, and so Ray will be facing whoever comes out on top here.
So playerzero, this is, even just glancing at it, this is like by far the most meta setup I've seen so far today. It's Planet Man, it's G Code, it's Totem. It's just like textbook, how to build a good mod cards build. Like it's just got everything that, I don't want to say everything that matters, but everything that's, I guess matters. Everything that's useful in this format.
Yeah, for sure. It's got all of the strong chips, all the strong options here. Planet Man gives you a status guard, so it's just like you have permanent Tomahawk. And then you got the chip recovery from Totem. And I mean, yeah, it's just a really strong build that he has. It is extremely meta, extremely common to see stuff like Planet Man. I think people have been intentionally playing around it and like not going with Planet Man, especially with this Blood Moon. People have been trying to do stuff that's different and stuff that's a little bit more fun.
Yeah, this is the playing to win setup.
But yeah, playerzero for sure. When I asked him about it, he was just like, "Well, it's my first time playing a tournament with mod cards, so I'm just gonna go with
go all the way,
tried and true, the textbook build."
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Planet Man, one of the reasons why it is so strong, and as you mentioned, you get status guard, so you can't be paralyzed, you can't be confused, you can't be blinded. Like, you're pretty much just tank entirely. And then you've got Satella, you've got your air shoes, you've got your chip heal, you've got your scarecrow. Like he's got like two forms of chip heal. I mean, I know Totem is a stronger one, but it's just there's so much meta in this. And then Nightmare gives you that color bug and a little bit of HP as well. So it's the emotion bug too. So
yeah,
he's got that. Of course, the humor bug combined with things like Gregor make it very strong. Even as customizer, like that is a very optimal customizer. Like, he's got everything you need, and it's Gregor, so he can also, outside of what he's doing with his mod cards, he can take advantage of his crosses. And then that's before you look at Chico. He's running, all the favorites, Static, the Hot Guns, the Dragons, the Uninstall. He's even got the Gun to Soul EX. This is like, yeah, I can't say anything bad about this setup. It's just good. Like,
yeah. The one thing I would do personally is to swap out the Groundman Star for maybe something like a Spoutman SP. Just because, just for meta reasons, to take down people who are camping in Heat Body. But other than that, everything else is like really, really meta, really strong right now. Just the Groundman, having a Groundman Star, as well as the Groundman SP, it does help more against people trying to abuse Slash Cross, which is still very strong when you set it up, even in this format.
Actually, there's one thing I just noticed, and maybe I just didn't see it yet, but he's not running any run racks, and he's playing Gregor, so that's interesting.
That is true, but with the ×2 procs from Nightmare from the emotion bug,
that's
almost
gonna be his.
Anything he does will destroy. Actually, yeah, I think almost anything he does will just destroy Life Aura, as long as he gets the ×2 proc. I guess like the Risky Honey and maybe the Machine Gun 2s, they wouldn't be able to destroy it even with ×2, but everything else in this folder just would demolish a Life Aura anyways. And yeah,
he's not running any gauges, but I think his build actually benefits from the momentum from your own slow gauge on your side. So yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out, where you've got a very meta setup versus a very kind of non-meta setup.
Yeah, for sure.
Although I will say that in your case, even though the hose rolling can kind of ebb or flow depending on the field, having attack 10 is very useful, but you're not using Buster Bug either, so that's
exactly. So yeah. I don't have the Buster Jam procs. Attack 10 benefits really hard from a Buster Jam because you just get those free charge shots from spamming your Buster. So without that, yeah, I have a lot less damage in my hand, but I guess we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think your best bet is you want to uninstall him and make him vulnerable that way, but otherwise it's a bit of an uphill climb.
Alright, I think we can hop into the match.
Yep. Alright, so this is player 0 on the left and you on the right. Yeah. Oh, that is so messed up. He has turn 1 static uninstall.
Look at those machine guns as well.
That is just like, well, one, that's dust hate, but that's also like, this is, oh man. Yeah, this turn 1 is going to be something. Yeah, so it looks like he's going for the mock gun. Oh, okay, the mock gun uninstall and then static. This is such a good first hand. Yeah, because right now he can uninstall you and then just start taking away your movement in your front row.
Yeah, exactly. With Planet Man, it's it completely changes the way I have to play. And I'm seriously considering just crossing. Yeah, I'm just gonna go into Tengu right off the bat.
Yeah, because you know you'll need that movement. So he starts off with that color bug confusion. Ooh. Wow, that... This is so rude.
Oh man.
Because now he's just interrupting everything you do.
You didn't even manage to get one charge shot in there.
Did you? I'm trying to think, when did you get a chance to do at all that first turn? Yeah, and that's a good point, player 0. Your P shooter becomes crack shot, so you can just, whatever panel is in front of you, you can just fling it around. The one downside is that if there's no open panel, then you can't use it, but otherwise, it's very polarizing.
Yeah, but the Hell's Rolling becomes really difficult to use if they can only stand on that one back row of panels. So, oh,
ooh, that is disgusting. Yeah, now Hell's Rolling is completely... Yeah, he can... If he procs the Humor Gregor at the right time here, he can just kill you. And you have no defense in your hands, so...
This is the path I've chosen. I'm just gonna live with it. It's really unfortunate, it's just that I don't get to play the entire thing I've built my folder around.
Yeah, I don't really see a way out of this. Again, it's just with your hand, you can't block anything that he does this turn, and that's rough. Your best bet would be to get as much area as possible to create some distance between, you and the dog, but... Like, what's going through your mind on this turn?
Well, I'm just thinking, how do I get this back row timpani? I just wanna... I mean, if I actually got it off, it would also kind of protect me a bit from the Gregor. But that
oh no!
Yes, and it's a ×2. Oh jeez.
That's disgusting. So, alright, so round 2, you gotta make some adjustments.
Yeah.
Try to.
The problem with and I think we talked about it briefly, but the problem with a setup where you've got that one win condition or that one that one mechanism that you want to play the whole matchup through
Right.
is that if it gets blocked, you
Yeah.
really don't have much to play off of.
And again, like on player zero side, he doesn't have to think about that at all. Like he's just Planet Man. He just exists and like
He kind of just plays normally, and it's like,
right. Like he's playing a single player game right now. Oh, he gets the green and Viz too. It's like that.
yeah, it's not good for me.
And now he's gonna destroy the front row of your holy panels. And there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, even without green and Viz, Rush does nothing to Planet Man. Just shrug. You just lost the, you lost the one of his Invis chips, and that's it. So that takes care of your holy panels.
Yeah, and his base charge shot here is also the Scarecrow Dull Thunder, which does a lot of damage.
A lot of damage. It's again full screen pressure. Not as fast as Elect crosses, but the benefit it has over it is that you can't counter hit with it. Like he hasn't even had to use any of his crosses yet. He's just chilling in base form.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he wants to stay in base form because
yeah, the humor.
Yeah, humor, and also it protects him against Hell's Rolling, indicates that I would manage to get my base form back.
Ah, it's gonna be away from the erase, man. It's unfortunate. Ooh, the counter hit.
Oh man.
And now he's looking to claim all of his area back, so it's... You do have, I see on your side, you have access to the uninstalled dragons, and that can help a little bit.
I'm feeling the pain, and I feel like after playing this set, I was like trying to wipe my memory of the trauma. Now it's all coming back to me. These turns where I can't even get a single charge shot off.
There's I guess you can talk about like what counters Planet Man in your opinion. I know Attack 10 is probably the most widely used one, but there's not a lot that actually stops him.
Yeah, Planet Man's biggest downside is the fact that it does take 40 megabytes. It's a pretty sizable chunk, so you are the whole rest of your mod cards and build around it. Okay, and I'm not even getting area lock here. Just the grab revenge coming down, setting me back. Attack plus 10 is definitely the big counter to it. Really just a huge amount of raw damage. And your opponent can't trade back with you because their buster is just a crack shot, which basically only works once they're area locked.
Yeah, once they use that buster, they can't trade with you. So you can, if you've got air shoes, you can just kind of hang out and fire back, and there's not much they can do about it.
So I do get the uninstall off here, but it's too little, too late, I think. Ooh, sidestepping the static, but.
Yeah, even like looking at Player Zero's hand here, it's like he's got all the tools he needs to just... Because he's got the Gun Assault EX, he's got you locked there, so you have to take that. Of course, Static being static is great. He's got the Dragon.
Yeah, and I really just can't really get anything done here.
Yeah, I do like Spout Cross in this particular matchup because of the Fire Body. I think it's a way to do your own damage. Oh, wow. Just...
To be honest, I don't think it's gonna work out well for me either.
Oh!
Guntel EX finish.
Yeah.
Well played to Player Zero there. But I think even with him trapped in that front panel there, I don't think it was gonna work out for the simple reason that that mod card build, it actually covers its bases really well. So you see he's in Heat Body and he takes double damage from Spout, like you were mentioning. But his chart shot, his base chart shot, it is Dull Thunder.
Wow. So he thought of everything.
Yeah, so it covers its own weakness there. So if you try to go into Spout, you leave yourself open. You might lose it very quickly and take double damage.
Yeah, man, Planet Man, because there's other. I believe Plant Man gives status guard too, right? But it's just Planet Man. In terms of total value, it kind of eclipses that altogether. So it's not just the status guard; it's kind of everything playing with it.
Yeah, well played the playerzero there. He did play. He played to his strengths. Managed to get me with those ×2 procs. And yeah, really not having defense in my folder made it quite painful. But I think even with defense, I'm not sure if I could have dished out enough damage for it to swing back in my favor.
Yeah, I think you would need the arsenal of like an attack 10 build to actually do enough to make it count. So in your case, Hell's Rolling can be effective, but setting it up versus someone that can crack holes at will is kind of a terrible matchup, to be honest. Like there's not a lot that a lot of things have to go right for you to set that up. And
yeah, exactly. And so the one thing I would change, also this, just to be clear, this does eliminate me from from the tournament. The final match here, knocked out of losers. So congratulations to playerzero for crushing my hopes and dreams. And he'll be the one progressing to play against Ray coming up next. But I think the one thing I would change about my setup is switching to going roads for coming roads, just for the potential area lock, right?
I see.
So I didn't think too much about it when I was putting into going roads, and I think they replaced like timpanis or something. But it will be a while, I think, until we play mod cards once more. But I'll probably be making that adjustment and trying to play it at least one more time. But yeah, again,
this is mod cards format. Like you said, like certain thing, like when you're playing regular B and 6 format, like the matchups aren't this polarizing. Mod cards, you can just make a build like that and like be a complete bully. How much some builds can do about it, so.
Yeah, that's for sure. But yeah, congratulations to playerzero for progressing through the tournament, and I think let's jump into the setups for the next match, which is playerzero versus Ray.
I feel like this is a similar situation. I think Planet Man kind of has the advantage here, just in terms of Planet Man can still control the matchup. I do think that Tenguman is a very strong card in itself, and having access to air shoes especially helps a lot. But you have so many easy ways to uninstall with playerzero's build that one good shot is all it takes to ground him. And at that point, during where you think you're not going to get the air shoes back. But at that point, you're just fighting regular things, and Gregor doesn't really excel in a situation where you're uninstalled and can't move too much.
It does have the potential, because this is Gregor versus Gregor. It's Planet Man versus Tengu Man, as you can see. There is the potential for it to be extremely one-sided, because whoever gets off the uninstall is going to take off the other person's super armor. And Gregor's cross-charge shots are so powerful, they can be so punishing, and this is going to be a slow gauge matchup for sure. With Enduring Ray running 2 slow gauges, he does have the choice of when to drop them, so that is his advantage in this matchup.
I know, like you mentioned before, though, because of that humor glitch that playerzero is running by default, it's like he's walking around with nukes in his folder, and anything that's like, those chips are good already, but I mean, even something like a dragon, double damage, that's a lot scarier. Gregor, no comments needed. That talks for itself. But just a lot of things that he does are scarier under humor. Whereas Enduring Ray doesn't have that burst damage. I mean, he has Gregor, but he doesn't have the means to put the hurt on you the way that playerzero can.
Yeah, for sure. And like the ×2 Groundman SP as well is a huge huge option here.
Yeah, matter of fact, if Ray tries to go and do a slash cross and playerzero pulls that out, like that's GG in some cases.
Oh yeah, if there were times it would just completely demolish Ray. It would be probably like just the end of the match.
Right.
But it is Gregar versus Gregar. I think it is going to come down to playing around playerzero's nukes, as you're saying. Yeah. The ×2 procs, but also just cross management and seeing who can land uninstall, who can protect themselves from uninstall, because Gregar's crosses are just so strong that if you can uninstall your opponent and remove their super armor, you can really stop them from functioning most of the time.
And even without crosses, Enduring Ray is using Tinkerman, so landing those wind rats at area -2 is pretty huge. That's actually the highest DPS in the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, for sure.
What you can do with that. So if Ray does have the option to land that, should he get an uninstall or a low lock, that can be pretty ugly. playerzero isn't running a lot of area. He's got Judgment, he's got a grab event, he's got 2 grabs, but Ray has 4 grabs, so this is pressure a little harder.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top of this setup.
Yep.
And I think, without further ado, let's jump right into the match.
So we have playerzero on the right and Ray on the left. Yeah, they're running the same code too, so you see similar options pop up. They both have access to that static. Oh right, playerzero's on the left.
Yeah, playerzero has the ranked full cust here, and they
He's the red Mega Man. Ray is the blue Mega Man.
Ooh, so playerzero loses his front area very quickly here.
Chooses to sacrifice his regular ground man to beat. Makes sense.
Not getting to use his chips at the end there. Gonna hold on to them. So on one hand, he's at a huge area deficit. On the other hand, Ray's movement becomes much more predictable. So it might be easier to land some of these chips. Ooh, and man, that will protect it.
Yeah, the good thing that was not an uninstall. He might have popped that anti-damage too early. Let's see if he... Yeah. He popped it while the frames were still active. Opting to use his grab revenge to push him out and pressure with his own.
We get an area reset here. And Ray, on the other hand, looks like he's trying to complete this area lock. Ooh, and yeah, this is going to be a bit of a waste here.
Ooh. Yeah, he's going to block a couple of the hits, but he's still going to get pushed back regardless. Ooh, that potential Element Man ×2.
Yeah, that was pretty big, but players are opting to go for that charge shot instead. Squeezing in those crack shots from Planet Man.
And you see Ray has access to the Gregar right now. I don't think that, yeah, players doesn't have any way to block that. That will be interesting. Ooh, steps back.
Yeah, a key difference here is that Ray does not have humor. So this Gregar is going to be...
Yeah, flash bombs do nothing in this matchup except for removing Viz.
Yeah. I mean, still useful for that purpose, but probably not what you're looking for in that chip now. So
Ooh, and yeah, again with playerzero running humor, Gregar showing up at all is just like a supreme threat.
ooh.
Oh!
Ooh. So not a ×2, but still a lot of damage coming out here.
Conveyor panel is a little bit of an inconvenience, forcing playerzero to kind of slide along. I know he wants to toss those out, but...
Yeah, I do believe if he steps onto them, he can destroy one of them. Slow gauge coming out from Enduring Ray.
Yeah, that's not gonna be enough.
Yeah.
Like the first one.
Only gonna block 130, 260 still connects. Ray definitely on the back foot here, not able to use his charge shot effectively. Just being forced to spam his P shots here. And it looks like it's gonna be a Navi trade here, Judge Man for Element Man. But
he could have used those panels disappearing a little bit earlier. Ooh, he's fighting for his life right now. Yeah, that gun to Soul EX is enough to finish it off. I think he's opting for the double beast.
I knew it. I knew he couldn't resist the gun to Soul EX. Yep, there it is. Ooh, and yeah, so the gun to Soul EX will pierce through this life aura. It will just ignore it.
Oh.
And does not connect.
Although that wouldn't have paralyzed either. But he, how did he? Oh.
The gun del Sol EX got blocked. It got blocked off by playerzero's own anti-damage there.
That is. Oh man. He could have. Well, I was gonna say he could have rushed any time, just with the Planet Man being what it is. Yeah, that was a very clutch buster rock. Yeah, I don't think he wants to go into a frost. He wants to take advantage of his humor. Ooh,
Yeah,
uninstall.
uninstall. Just waiting for this ×2 proc. Either anger or full synchro here will do it.
There it is.
And yeah. Ooh, and that Wood Dragon, it both took down the aura and also popped the anti-damage.
Ooh, so Ray has access to the turn 1 static uninstall. So assuming that the color bug doesn't give playerzero any form of invincibility. Yeah, I think you can just do it.
Both players here starting off with negative status effects.
Ooh! He did that while blind. He had to guess.
Yeah, he was counting on his Tengu rack pushing playerzero back to confirm that.
Yeah, very good improvisation. Yeah, I think Ray might have a slight advantage at this point, just because he's already got the uninstall out, and this can allow him to pressure with rigorous crosses.
I agree with that, but I think he actually should have he should have crossed, I think.
Yeah, I mean he has a, yeah, I think he could have gone with a let cross even at that point, or a race cross.
Yeah, Elec can be a little bit risky versus the Wood Dragons, but Erase for sure, that would be a safe bet, because playerzero does not really have wind to answer.
Yeah, oh that's right, he has no wind racks.
Statics. The statics are a threat, but
yeah.
the damage you receive at least, only the first hit of the static would be doubled, so at the very least it's not too risky. So yeah, rest in peace, the double beast there. Slow gauge coming down from Ray.
Oh, lands on the counter hit with it.
Ooh. playerzero blocking the
Oh,
Element Man there. Gundel EX gets a bit of damage, but Ray steps out of it. Times
ooh,
2
that
would
double wood dragon.
really painful here.
Oh, it's not gonna take the entire ground, man.
Yeah, only one hit there because Ray managed to body block it. But just imagine if that times 2 went into ground man SP, that would have been so much damage potentially.
Still pretty. I mean, both sides I can kind of swing either way, but
Yeah, Ray will even it back up here with these recoveries. Area grab coming through, and then sitting on some defense.
ooh.
Ooh, it looks like that last hit of the Risky Honey there actually pops the bubble from the Bubble Star. So Ray does not end up status, basically. Interesting. So both players decide to go on crosses on the same turn. Ray, seeing that playerzero has played his breaking chips, decides to go into slash cross here. But grab revenge coming out for playerzero, it is going to send Ray back, take back the area. So now slash cross is being denied for this full slow gauge turn.
Yeah, this is a very strong position for a left cross to be in. To kind of chill, fire those bolts, and those aren't easy to dodge either. Very quick startup time.
Yeah, Eli Cross is one of the stronger Gregor crosses in terms of its charge shot.
They both have Gregor out right now.
Just well, because they're both in crosses, playerzero has lost his humor advantage. So there is no potential for ×2 Gregor at the very least. Their Gregors would be evenly matched if they chose to play them. Life Aura coming out for playerzero. Chooses not to use it here to block this, well, it's only 60 damage, but...
Yeah. And this would be a holy aura when he sets this up.
I think he's just suspicious of a second chip hiding behind that blast man. But it was just
Double
a
sanctuary.
Yeah, so both players on holy panels now. playerzero having an advantage due to holy aura.
Ooh, that life aura is getting him so much value right now. The playerzero could just go for the uninstall play here and knock that out. Oh, I think he wants to destroy the holy panel with it.
Yeah, I think this would be oh! Okay, so going for Elec here instead of Wood. Not sure if that was just a misplay. Oh! Oh no, this could be bad.
Yeah, it's not gonna save you. It's gonna break some of his own holy panels too. Wow, that destroyed nearly all of his holy panels.
I think that was a 5.
Yeah, he needs to... This is a slow gauge turn, so there's not much... He has to dance for this entire remainder of the turn. Oh no, he...
Oh.
Oh! That's
Steps up
up
to the final one. Well, well played to both players there.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can see that the Holy Aura doing a lot of work for playerzero. And yeah, Gregor versus Gregor can be kind of just a one-sided beatdown, and not through the fault of either player necessarily, just the way draws work out
Right.
and everything. It was interesting that both players chose to go into their crosses on the exact same turn. They just decided, all right, had enough of the base form,
Yeah, I
gotten
think
enough value out of it.
yeah, player zero, his build, I mean, his what he had right there allowed him to play either way. Like if he didn't go into a cross, he still had access to his ×2 chips, but otherwise, you can just kind of hang out in zone on the other side of the screen with the light cross behind an aura, and there's not much you can really do about it. It's the strength of Gregor.
Yeah, and I think Ray's own slow gauge ended up hurting him a bit there, made him forced him to dance for much longer than he normally would have. And you can kind of see that's one of the issues in Gregor versus Gregor is when you drop the slow gauge, you have to make sure it's going to be a really good turn for you because your opponent could easily punish you on that same turn. But yeah, well played to both players there. That takes Ray out of the running, and so player zero will advance. And Symes was knocked down from winners side by Pablo earlier, and so finally we figured out who is going to be playing Symes here for the opportunity to fight Pablo for the grand finals. And so it's going to be Symes versus player zero.
Yeah, so before we go into the match, just going to show the update. Neryth already did most of my job by giving the update, but I'll just briefly say if so we're going to see, based on this match, is that going to be the revenge match between Symes and Pablo going into the finals again, or is player zero going to come back from being into losers round turn from the first match and then coming all the way and maybe winning finals? For that, we're going to have to see after this match.
Yeah, and it is a really interesting bracket. You can see Salad was the one who sent player zero down to losers, and then Salad got knocked down almost immediately afterwards by Pablo. So it's just everyone just being sent down here into purgatory, and finally we will see who the winner of this kind of like poisonous jar that everyone has been talked into. All the insects eating each other. Finally, it's coming down to Symes versus player zero. We've seen both setups. Symes with the BDT setup, and player zero with this very standard Planet Man Gregor setup. The humor coming in clutch for him in a lot of these matches. And so it's really hard to say who actually has the advantage here. Planet Man gives a huge lead to player zero in terms of being able to deal with the BDTs, right? Because normally you'd want to go into like Tomahawk just so you can at least not get chain BDT'd or bubble BDT'd. But player zero doesn't have to worry about bubble BDT and doesn't have to worry about the paralysis from the BDTs coming out. So that's already a bit of an advantage to player zero. But Symes does have the tools to hurt player zero a lot regardless.
Yeah, I feel like because Planet Man is one of the main reasons why I don't like BDT a lot in this format. And even if you're not just looking at, okay, Planet Man, how it interacts with BDT, certain things not working anymore. Player zero is also running shield, so even by default, like he's got all the tools he needs to fight off a BDT user. He's also got access to charge cross, which is another counter that you can use with that. So I feel like this matchup is kind of heavily, maybe not heavily skewed, but definitely in player zero's favor on paper. Symes does have the tools to do things like uninstall them. He's got good water damage or Spoutman SP in order to take out either the heat body or just getting with a charge cross. He's got bubble stars for damage as well in that regard. It's just, I think player zero is so well equipped against that this is going to be an uphill battle for Symes making BDT work, especially if he's not digging forward as fast as possible. Player zero can kind of do whatever he wants toward the beginning of the match. Now, the one thing that player zero will have to watch out for is Symes having just a ton of HP, and that's still going to be a lot to dig to. Even with his nukes, he's going to have to really use of those strategically. But I think between those and his crosses, he's fine. So I kind of have player zero just edging this one out in my head, looking at their options.
I don't want to detract from Symes' setup here too much. He does have, as you said, the uninstall that would remove not only the super armor but also the shield, and so that would put player zero in a tough position to respond to the BDTs. Because after that, the only thing he's got going for him would be the charge cross, which gets countered by bubble stars. So if Symes plays it well, I can easily see player zero also being put in a tough position. I think it really does this come down to the Bug Death Thunder. Like, when does it get dropped? How early can Symes get access to it? And how can Symes like juggle his folder around so he has the right tools at the right moment? Because he can still put player zero into that position, that classic BDT position of just being cornered and having your defensive tools removed. Player zero playing Gregar, he did a trade-off. He's got the crosses that have better passive damage, and he's got Gregar, the Gregar Giga, which is a huge chunk of damage. But the payoff to that, the trade-off, I mean, is that he doesn't have Hub Batch. So once his shield gets uninstalled, he does not have access to a second shield. And the second shield there would be really effective against BDT. But because it's Gregar, he's got more of an offensive build here. So player zero has to watch out for that, and Symes could definitely punish that with his BDT setup.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm just thinking Symes' build isn't really built for immediate digging, meaning that he's not running the traditional, going the dust cross, full cust, dig some more. Symes' build kind of plays it as it goes, and he's not going to have as much time to play with if player zero just starts going for his head turn one, especially with getting a static uninstall or something immediately. So it's a very threatening environment for Symes. He'll have to keep that in mind as he starts the match. He'll just have to watch out for easy uninstalls that player zero has access to. Watch out for ways to block BDT or even prevent him from getting it out at all. And if he's uninstalled, it's kind of vice versa too. Like it's very hard to keep BDT coming out when you are uninstalled, because anything will flinch you, and your charge time is pretty large. So
yeah, for sure. So it's gonna be interesting to see who comes out on top here. And I think with that being said, let's jump right into the match.
Player zero on the right, Symes on the left. So actually, Symes has the turn one uninstall available right here, and he doesn't opt to go for it.
Yeah, player zero taking a bit more time, picking out his options here.
They're both invincible.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, if they're running the same level of color bug, they'll both go off at the same time. Ooh, nice. Okay, nice hit with the machine gun. Symes is gonna go for the invis.
Yeah, basically an end of turn invis there for Symes. Gonna protect him coming into this next turn. And it doesn't look like player zero has any answers to it on his side, so he's just gonna have to wait it out.
I think with Symes is, because Symes does have access to the bubble uninstall right here, or at least the bubble star. I think because the bubble star can't really be used to bubble in this matchup, maybe just gets used as a damage source, especially with that heat body going on.
And looks like it's going to be a very similar turn for both players, just stacking defense, getting a by 4 up. And one thing we didn't mention is that they both have the Scarecrow charge shot, so just probably trading Dual Thunders.
They both got life ores ready at the same time too.
Ooh, player zero choosing not to use his life ore there, so he's behind one step there. Symes has his anti-damage backing up this life aura, but player zero's got popped there.
Yeah, no one has... It's really because player zero is on a cross, he can't go for it 2 times into any of his chips with the humor glitch. So Symes is doing something very risky. I mean, I know he's behind an aura, but he's going to go for a chip charge to remove that aura on his end. But he's going to spout, so that does make him vulnerable to the electricity coming out if his aura were to get removed.
Yeah, this is an interesting choice here, going to spout for those ×2.
I see player zero going for a race. Oh, and the Sanctuary saves him from getting his aura moved.
Yeah, that was a well-timed Sanctuary there. And now there's a second Bubble Star, but it also will not be able to pierce the Holy Aura.
That's unfortunate too, because if he loses that Bubble Star, that's one less thing he has to use against Charge Cross.
Yeah, he does still have the Spoutman SP, and he has it right here in his hand right now, but that's not actually a good thing.
Yeah, not this. No, it can't do anything here.
Yeah, first off, it can't do anything here. Second, it's occupying a important spot in his folder in his hand. He probably wants to like just get rid of it, send it back to the back of his folder, but can't do that without going to dust, and that would make him vulnerable to Erase Beast. So a bit of an awkward position here for Symes. Both players with Aura, but player zero sitting on Holy Aura.
Player zero may be looking at going Dust Beast, or not Dust Beast, Erase Beast. And that's the downside to not having any Wind Racks. You don't really have a way to remove it on command.
Yeah, it's definitely an awkward position here.
And you did say something earlier. You mentioned that player zero would benefit from having something different than that Groundman, that regular Groundman. I think Tengu Man would be an excellent complement to his folder in a situation like this.
Oh yeah, that is true as well.
Ooh, he's gonna pulls him off the holy panels for the Pool Beast.
Yeah, it gets an extra 210 damage that way. And he's got this Judge Man, wants to connect with it, but it is difficult. Predicted incorrectly there, but at least he still gets the area back.
He does not want to step forward and eat that Wind Rack.
Ooh, so the Life Aura times out there. Not sure if player zero was expecting it to time out a little bit earlier, because he was sitting on that hand, just waiting for it. But now he can finally use that. Oh. Okay, player zero maybe thinking about ditching his previous hand. I think it was almost full though, 3 or 4 chips. Yeah, 4 chips. I think he just goes through with it, carries it over.
Yeah, counter hit with no stun, so. Wow, that was a hard read. That was a very hard read.
Ooh, counter hit. Okay, the Groundman does get blocked by this anti-damage, but effective use of defense from Symes, and his end of turn invis will carry over as well. Not sure if player zero has anything he can do about it.
Unfortunately, with player zero's current hand, he doesn't really have a lot that he could beast charge for tail arrows. That would be a very strong option right now for him.
Yeah, it's looking like he's just gonna have to wait out this invis. Or, oh, the judgment.
Oh, that was...
It doesn't connect.
He loses his holy panels.
Yeah, and this is the BDT drop turn for Symes.
Ooh. Ooh, and he gets the uninstall on him.
Oh yeah, this is potentially quite bad for Symes.
See, even though the BDT will do damage, he can still take them to the face and not lose his own, not get paralyzed with it.
I feel it's kind of unfortunate that playerzero used this Elite Cross so early, because one of the advantages is that because it comes out faster and has less delay after you fire it, it is a bit more effective than the Race Cross, I feel, in this situation, for trying to interrupt your opponent's BDT charge.
Yeah, a Race is a very solid cross, not Race, Electra's a very solid cross for just continuing to deal damage no matter where you are, and the more you can stop your opponent from using that, the better.
Oof.
Ooh.
That Tomahawk SP coming in, carving a chunk off of playerzero here.
Nice! At the last second.
Yeah, that was a very good machine gun right there, but...
playerzero can't take too much more of these straight hits.
Yeah, I think even one more and... oh!
Ooh! And that custom opening bug comes in to fight him.
Oh, that's really bad. If Symes times a time pierce counter effectively right here, this could be it. No, this won't save him. That's the end of the first match. Even gets a double damage right there from D-Cross.
Yeah, Symes played that really well. Yeah, I do feel like if he had waited to, if playerzero waited to use his Elect Cross later, that would have went a lot differently.
Yeah.
I think one of the things about playing Gregor is that so much of how you play is built into your cross selection that you really don't want to use certain crosses too early or too late.
Bolt under trading going on here.
Yeah, double damage Wood Dragon. Oh, he just popped the Grumman SP. It's gonna come out unless he crosses.
Oh yeah, and that should connect as well.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Can you TFC something if they did on the last turn?
You should be able to.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and Symes does have to do that with the Synthas to block the Grandman SP damage. Symes getting these ×2 procs, but they're not going to help him. He needs to deal with this Life Aura first.
Ooh, yeah, if playerzero manages to pop this Humor Gregor, if he goes for it, that'll put a huge dent in him.
Yeah, it could easily take more than half of Symes' HP.
Ooh. Ooh. Almost the full damage out of that.
Beat taking away that roll. Not what Symes was looking for, I think, but...
So you see Symes draw that, he's got BDT in his hand now, and opt to use it or opt to wait. It looks like player zero's going for a more defensive turn.
Yeah, both players opting for defense here. So we're just gonna see some more Dull Thunder trading.
Ooh. Waiting for that proc. Yeah, but he has the anti-damage, so it's not gonna... That would have been huge if that landed.
Yeah, not gonna lie, it's looking a bit rough for player zero here. He already connected with his Gundel EX. And he's got the Double Beast in his hand now. But he has to cut through so much of Symes' HP. No longer has the ×2 Gregar option available to him.
Ooh. Waits for the invis to go for the Double Beast. Smart.
Alright, that is definitely going to help player zero here in trying to whittle Symes down.
Ooh, he's holding... Oh no, that's huge.
Oh, and you can see the Spoutman punish here.
That is gigantic. Ooh, okay. The counter.
Player zero on his last leg here.
Yeah, signs of life.
and you can... Zero does not have recoveries or anything. So it's all going to be chip recovery. Just from Totem.
Ooh. That's unfortunate about the humor taking away his full synchro there. Oh, that's gonna be game.
Oh, yeah, Double Beast clinches it for Symes there. That was a close final turn right there, though. If not for the Double Beast, player zero might have been able to do something still.
It's funny Symes played that very well, but I felt like Symes winning wasn't due to BDT, just more so playing the matchup really well versus Gregor.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think he popped BDT that last round.
He didn't. As far as I'm aware, he didn't even pop BDT in the last round. It was just the ×2 Spoutman SP onto Heat Body. It completely punished player zero for not having normal body or elect body or anything else. Just the Heat Body was completely destroyed by it, and you can see that's one of the things that Symes is looking for in his folder with Tomahawk Man SP and the Spoutman SP is looking for those ×2 punishes onto a body that's weak to them.
Mm.
So well played to both players there. And it looks like Symes will get his revenge match, his grudge match versus Pablo, because he's going to be progressing back up to the winner's side to for the final set of the day.
Yes, this is grand finals, and sure enough, it's kind of right back where we started with it's a revenge actually, the earlier one. This is classic slow gauge versus fast gauge matchup where Symes and Pablo clash once again.
Yeah, and we've seen both these setups. Pablo with the triple fast gauge, Symes with his 2 slow gauges here. Actually, I think it's triple slow gauge with the jelly. Yeah, we've seen this. Right. Triple gauge nullification. And these 2 very different setups. And we'll have a chance to see who comes out on top in this second match between the 2.
Yeah, we're going to find out who can really keep the momentum going and take it from there. So let's see how these 2, see if they've made any adjustments after the last match.
Alright, yeah, let's jump right into it.
Yep.
So this is from Symes' point of view.
Funny looking Pablo's HP counting down like years.
Yeah, just take me back. Take me all the way back.
Oh nope, he went past the year I was born. Nope, I don't exist.
I'm gone. I was gone a little bit ago, yeah. Okay, so Beat comes down. Takes one of Pablo's natty chips away. Symes gets a bit of area here with the area grab right off the bat. Just playing defensively with these shields.
Another thing I was going to point out is that I personally cannot stand color bug at all. Like, that first turn blindness is so stressful because I don't know what's going to come out.
Yeah,
He's trying to put shields up constantly.
I hate color bug because I feel like I always get a negative status effect and my opponent always gets a positive one, so I am not favored in that regard. That's what it feels like to me.
It can be a necessary evil for a thing like the build is. Ooh.
Symes coming out here with the Spout Cross. Looks like he's just going to try to punish Pablo's T-Body. But Pablo is Gregar, so he has the option of also crossing into Elec and playing the element weakness cycle game with Symes here.
Yeah, as of before, neither player opting to pop one of their gauges, so keeping those in the back pocket until it really matters. And ooh, must be an area play from Pablo because he goes into the.
Yeah, it is likely to be an area play.
Ooh, pops the trap. Oh.
The Judge Man misses here. This guy's area that would be bad for Symes if it's followed by an area grab.
Oh, wow! Oh, he did roll too. I think he just wants to heal him.
Yeah. So I think Symes is trying to adjust his play here, saying I'm not gonna get caught with one chip left at the very end and being forced to either toss it or carry it into the next round over and over. He's saying he's just gonna get the value out of it right now. Trying to be a bit more decisive about his chip usage here, and we'll see if that makes all the difference. That multi-hit on the charged bubble star though, that also had that all attached to it.
That's so huge when that happens.
Yeah, that was brutal to see.
Oh, he stepped into it. That was not the wisest movement option.
I almost feel like that was intentional, to drop his cross and going back into base so he can get humor and everything. Yeah, to me that seems like it was an intentional play.
I can see that. Yeah, still a little bit of rough. You don't want to take one of those either way, so.
Yeah, and Symes is still quite healthy here.
Yeah.
So he's gonna go into Dust Cross and try and knock off Slash. Slash is still a very potent cross in mod cards, but Pablo is going into Charge instead. Symes will also be able to deal with these Holy Panels here. Ooh, unfortunately, there's nothing he can stop this Erase Man with, so he's only gonna get the one Charge shot off.
Ooh, and Rush is gonna take hold. I don't know if Pablo is a punish for this or not. Ooh, those Buster procs. And you see the regular Buster procking into a coming road, and the charge shots are what proc the going road, so.
So Symes has the answer to the Life Aura here. Just has to make sure not to get counter hit or paralyzed right when he's using it. Otherwise, it will be a nasty situation. Ooh, manages to get it off. Sounded like it was a ×2 proc as well.
Ooh!
Oh! It is on Holy Panel, so this is going to be normal damage here.
It's
So
still
this is a
very
proc.
good normal damage.
And that also takes away one of Pablo's answers to BDT, so looking good for Symes in this first match here.
Speaking of beats, he's not drawing it at all. Like, he's not digging for it actively, he's just kind of playing the match as it is.
So Symes seeing that his opponent has been knocked out of charge cross. Looks like he might be considering Tomahawk because of this area control that he has. He can just confirm those charge shots as long as Pablo doesn't have a grab or revenge ready.
And he can kind of wait this out with his own invis. Ooh. He didn't have to go for the anti-damage.
Yeah, so he does lose that area. Pablo manages to regain it. Ooh. Okay, end of turn Heat Dragon connects onto Holy. These Holy panels are putting in some serious work for Pablo. They have reduced so much damage.
He has no way to clear those out right now.
I feel like Pablo would be close to death at this point if not for those Holy panels, so really just the value is insane.
Especially with that like Spoutman that happened the other turn.
Yeah, that was... Okay, so Pablo goes into Heat. Bit of a area trade coming here. It knocks off Symes' anti-damage.
I'm gonna put that aura on, buddy.
Waits for the time for his counter. Didn't want to get caught off guard. Bit of a risky play, but it paid off for Symes there. Or rather, he wasn't punished for it.
Look at the beast play, interesting.
I almost feel like he should just use slow gauge this turn. I think Pablo would not be prepared for it, would not have a fast gauge ready, so he would just get a full turn of BDT charging, but...
Ground SP is out.
Ground 9 SP comes out from Pablo, does a good chunk of damage to Symes here.
Ooh.
Loses the charge. Takes double damage. That...
Yeah, Pablo's got a really good area advantage. He's got holy panels up on his side. And right now, I think he's easily got the momentum in his favor.
Okay, so Symes finally gets out this Element Man, but unfortunately it sets up the grass in order to remove those holy panels, and that gives Pablo this grass field here. Gregar blocked by anti-damage. Symes in a good spot here. That Gregar also... It got rid of the grass on Symes.
He waited for slow gauge.
Ooh.
With his own fast gauge.
Not sure about this, Okay, so looks like Symes is trying to gamble it here.
Uh-oh.
A lot of damage coming out from Colonel Force.
I was trying to count how much that was, and it was just too much to keep up with. Yeah,
Ooh, and Double Beast finishes it off.
Round 1 goes to Pablo.
So I think that was a boosted Colonel Force with the attack plus 30. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I want to say that was boosted. Yeah, Pablo does have an attack plus 30, so yeah, that's more than likely. And that's on top of the beast boost too. Oh, and there goes that blindness again. Oh, he's got the terminal invincibility. Doesn't use his area grab.
Yeah, that was in that last match, that was a Kernel Force plus 60, so that was 270 damage per column of panels. So 1080 altogether with those four panels. So Symes just ate a ton of damage and couldn't take it at the end there. Looks like a bit of a slow start here, thanks to these rock cubes, giving the players both a bit of cover.
I do really like the this field that comes out with the back poison panels. It can cause a lot of pressure, just your opponent not wanting to stay on them for too long.
You know, why stop that back row or back column poison panels? Why stop there? Let's just make everything poison panels. I'm a big fan of poison seed and poison panels in general.
I was going to say, are you suggesting that we bring back, remember Get On 3?
Oh yeah.
That would be so fun to use in this game. Oh no, that is huge.
720 damage and a decross there. Can Symes also squeeze out the area grab? He can.
Yeah, I'm also a huge fan of Poison Seed as a chip. Very, very strong in my opinion.
And an early BDT as well. Pablo managing to protect himself here with the invis.
Ooh, can't block the double beast. Symes still pretty healthy right now, though.
Yeah, and
his BDTs converging.
Yeah, these BDTs are gonna prove to be a problem for Pablo coming up soon. So Pablo's really gonna have to find an answer to that within his hand. I almost feel like at this point, you should just play the gauge game and go for your slow gauge.
Just to close it out?
Yeah, because this is a situation where 600
those poison panels like heading to would. Oh, well, yeah, I would do it too. He dodged the initial breath, but the rocks were still a problem.
Yeah, he would have taken 500 from the rocks.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, look, you've got both slow gauges. I would just lock both of them this turn, because the pressure is really on Pablo to answer them. Like, I would straight up just have both of them ready this turn, and you can just sit on the second one, even if your opponent pops a fast gauge. Or if they don't pop the fast gauge this turn, you can just sit on the second one and wait for them to pop it on the next turn, because Pablo really needs... he really needs to answer these BDTs. Ooh, Sanctuary. Ooh, and this is so dangerous.
Oh, that would be...
So 210 coming out, a respectable amount, but... Yeah, I just want to see Symes drop these slow gauges. This is like the best moment for it. And Pablo does not have recovery 300s or anything, so
Yeah, it's just a little rough. Pablo really putting those holy panels to work. Staying alive under his barrier 400 it is now.
I really feel this is yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Symes will ever use these. In fact, it looks like he's gonna toss one of them with the trash chute. So
Okay, I agree with this play.
okay, yeah, it's going to Beast to remove the holy panels.
That's
Is
a
very
good
good.
threat too. I would beast charge that other slow gauge.
Oh, this is not gonna remove those. Oh no, and he still has this bottom row of holy panels to contend with. It does make Pablo's movement more predictable, but this could be a problem.
Yeah. Oh, he's still got. I mean, between a roll and his recovery chips, he could still stay extremely healthy right now. And he's got Element Man to knock out the rest of the holy panels. I think he's looking to close it out this round. Or this turn, I should say.
Problem here is just that you don't want to underestimate Pablo's damage output with the Kernel Force. If he can get a Revenge boosted Kernel Force, that would also spell the end for Symes here. So this is not a good time to be complacent.
Ooh, imagine if he lands that ground cross beast charge. That would hurt on Splash Cross a lot.
Oh yeah, that would probably just
That would
finish
kill
off.
him.
Ooh, the double damage.
He's got to recover that off.
Okay, Invis blocks this ground man, but this turn looks kind of suspicious.
He land the ground beast. Oh, gonna stop us from coming out. Ooh, wow. Yeah, Pablo is... He's not gonna go out without swinging.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about taking the Tomahawk over to roll here. Or about the Beast over.
I think he needs to...
This seems really risky here.
Because if he beasts over and it doesn't go over correctly, Pablo can just clinch it out.
I do think he's gonna need to pop this Invis real fast.
Ooh.
Ooh, the roll sneaks in here, gets the damage off. Oh no. This is it, this is the Kernel Force. It's gonna be connect right off of that.
Wow. Ooh. Pablo takes it.
Wow, well played to Pablo right there. Both players putting in some work, but
I
I
feel
think
like
Symes not
Symes-
popping the slow gauges earlier. He had such a good start to that match, and he got the early BDT as well. But choosing not to pop the slow gauges earlier, I think it let Pablo get back his defensive momentum and kind of swing the match back. So well played to Pablo there, really using his options well there and managing to clinch out that win.
Yeah, we'll play for sure. I felt like Symes had a lot of opportunities to take the round that time, but he either didn't capitalize on it or just kind of didn't optimize in situations where he could have. And Pablo definitely just climbed through all of that and was able to fight back, even in situations where he was about to die. So
Yeah, it looked like a hopeless situation for Pablo there actually when he was down to like 400, 600 HP, and Symes still had so many options available to him, and as well as the BDT pressure. It looked like a really tough position for Pablo to get out of, and he managed to do it. Symes just not managing to close it out.
yeah, I know Battle Network especially is one of those games where you can't afford to like hold anything back at any time because all your opponent needs in this game is 1 inch, and they can easily spring back with a good comeback. And you just saw that here with Pablo's Colonel Force coming out like that.
Yeah, and that's especially true for Colonel Force with attack plus 30 or the Gregard. Gregard was blocked, or rather, yeah, it did miss, and it was also blocked by the anti-damage, or I think it was anti-damage or invis. But he still had the Colonel Force up his sleeve, and Symes should have been a bit more aware of that if he wanted to take that match. But yeah, well played to both players there, and congratulations to Pablo for winning the tournament, winning our Blood Moon #3.
Yep.
And
Yeah, so congratulations to Pablo becoming our latest Moon Master. So that's always fun to see, and we're going to see if he's able to keep that for the next Blood Moon, which will be starting out in 2021. So stay tuned for that. More information will be coming out very soon. Speaking of more information, there is the announcement coming up now that we promised at the start of the stream. So we will be starting to accept donations through Kofi. Okay, so over the past few weeks we've been looking for ways to try to improve our process of how we've been doing videos. We've been running New Moon for over 7 months now, I think, every week just going with videos. So we decided to go with Kofi as a way to improve our process. Yeah, welcome to the Kofi website. So basically, just to give a quick run through about how this is going to work. So this will be explained after the stream in an announcement, and actually there is a link in chat if anyone's interested to take a look at the Kofi link right now. So first and foremost, obviously any donations made will be used to improve the N1GP and improve our processes going forward. And so just to briefly explain what are some of the perks you might get by considering donations, and obviously I've already mentioned helping us improve our process. But another thing is that every donation will get a shout out from our casters on streams, and you can include a message which will be read out at the end of the stream as well. And also all donations will receive the millions roll on Discord, so there will also be that. So as for how donations will be used going forward, the way we've done it is we had a list of goals that we would want to reach, and they're all explained here on screen, and we ordered them based on the priorities that we want to reach these goals in. So yeah, so there is the breakdown that you can read on screen, and again this will be linked in an announcement afterwards. And yeah, so we are going to keep our Ko-Fi page consistently updated, and we're going to do periodic announcements for how these donations are helping the N1GP and how we're using them or planning on using them. Okay, and before ending this stream, since this is our last stream for the year, or effectively our last New Moon tournament for the year, just want to give a special shout out to two people specifically that over the past year have been doing a lot of work on helping maintaining the N1GP and on the stream. and it's no surprise for people that are in the N1GP, it's going to be Mars and Salad. And yeah, as per usual, this is going to be the end of our stream, so thank you everyone for watching today. Thank you for Buster Cannon and Neryth for joining on commentary, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having us, and thank you to all the participants and everyone who helped make this Blood Moon possible, and all the new moons this year as usual.
Yeah, and shout out to Enduring Grey for editing all of these double votes and putting them together as well, so thank you for all the work you've been doing. Yeah, thank you everyone for watching, hope we'll see you guys again next year. Goodbye.